Ready for the mosh pit, shaka bra.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. World's Life is Strange fan podcast. This is episode 139. One episode, no sides. This is going to be a long episode, so buckle in, boys. We've got a long podcast to go. I am on one of the sides of the boats, or the canoe. Is it a boat? Canoe? It's a canoe.
It's a canoe.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess is a canoe a boat?
Different.
You say it in the chat. Chat, put it in the chat.
Well, we'll be on the canoe. We'll be on the canoe with Adam's banjo in the background. But yeah, Adam is here. Adam, welcome.
Thank you. Me and my Turkish Banglama are doing great here. For anybody wondering, it's not a banjo. It's a Turkish Banglama.
Well, it is a banjo because whilst we're in the boat and we haven't got a thing, we're going to row with it. It's going to move the water, isn't it? Wow, how else are we going to get back there? We're stranded there. But yeah, we are back for our podcast episode. Obviously, probably from the title, where we are out right now, we're obviously recording the 28th of March. Life is Strange Reunion is out. We played it. This is our spoiler cast and review. Long awaited for what it is. I think this is we've reviewed True Colors. We reviewed the remastered collection. We reviewed Wavelengths, Double Exposure, and this one now. So obviously this is StrangeCast's fifth year as well. So obviously a big episode, a long one to buckle yourself in. This is a spoiler cast and a review. It's mainly a spoiler cast. The first couple of sections will just be a review. You'll hear what we think, and then we'll kind of move straight into the spoiler cast section, and then you have to watch the rest of the podcast. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, before we start, if you are new here, please do consider dropping subscribe on the channel, turn notifications, like the video, and share with your friends. StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. So check us out on Spotify with the video version. We have 370 followers on there. Still climbing. We have 54 ratings, so please do rate us. It helps boost our visibility and get us out to other people. We're on Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts is updating soon with video content as well, so you can get a video version on there very soon. Or if it's available, I'm not too sure at the minute. I need to double check it. We're on social media, so go and check us out on social media. And we are on Patreon as well, so you can support us on Patreon. Patreon users as well, the incentive will come live very soon for our monthly episode. It'll be the week after as well. We are obviously we had to move it because of this reason, so do bear with us. That will come in for the monthly episode for March. And obviously we'll have one for April as well towards the end as well, where you guys can get involved. So do bear that in mind. And I think you've probably got quite a few questions and stuff to talk about. So yeah, Adam, obviously Life is Strange Reunion is out, the finale, as it has been dubbed, of Max and Chloe's story from Deck 9 Games, a straight sequel to Double Exposure 2026's Life is Strange Reunion 2024 Double Exposure. For PSA as well, we have reviewed this on PlayStation 5. I bought a copy, Adam bought a copy. If Adam, I don't know if you've seen as well, because not many people got reviews at all or any codes, because we'll come on to the critical reception later. And we'll discuss that, which is quite crazy, like how they've actually marketed this, but again, probably representative of where they're at with things. But yeah, we didn't get a copy. We bought these codes. I've only played it once at this point. I only just finished it not too long ago. We've just jumped on start recording to try and get this out. Unfortunately, I'd love to play it 3 or 4 times before that. So I'm going to base this just on the one playthrough opinion that I have right now. Adam's in the second playthrough. You're in your second one, aren't you now?
I'm on my second playthrough, like almost done on my second playthrough. I'm about 3/4 of the way through of a second playthrough. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. So you're there, and we've kind of like dabbled things. So in itself as well, for context, me and Adam haven't actually really spoken about this game. So we have had a couple of chats with different people that we've been like kind of memeing about with and stuff like that. But we've actually not spoken about actual what we think. I've seen Adam tweet about, the dog being barked and stuff. Let me just put this on focus. There's a notification. We have talked about.
I got some bones to pick a little
bit. But yeah, we're here. So to start with, obviously, the podcast, Adam decided to kind of like splinter this into a separate segment in terms of we can make this as a non-spoiler cast section, more of a review, which is how we did our Double Exposure one, which is a review section where we do individual scores, and then StrangeCast gives it an official rating at the end, which is a consensus between me and Adam. Adam, for a reminder, we use 5-star scale, but the 5-star scale is a representative of a 10-point scale. So you can have 3.5 stars, 2.5 stars. It's representative of that.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first?
I think you should go first.
Well, am I going first? I set you up for that.
You want me? All right, I can go first because I got some bones to pick. I didn't write a script like it did for Double Exposure. This is just coming straight from the heart.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Here's my bone to pick.
Sorry, yes. I just had a flashback to that script. I've completely forgot about the script. Oh my god, yeah. That was like
it was like 3 pages of just like I was so angry at Double Exposure, dude. But I just have to write it down to like control my thoughts here. But this is coming straight from the heart. Okay, I got some bones to pick with not double H, but with Deck 9, like former Deck 9 people, current Deck 9 people. Okay, who do you think you are? Okay, who do you think you are? That now you know what you've done to me right now, Deck 9? You have to make me defend a near perfect Life is Strange game. That's my bone to pick. I'm playing this game and it is damn near pure perfect. And now I have to come onto this podcast with people who are just already angry with double exposure, the state of Life is Strange as a franchise, of all this. Everybody's angry about like, oh, Chloe's not coming back. Oh, it's not. It's not. The original actress Ashley Birch. Oh, it can't be. It can't be good. Now now it's my job to defend this amazing Life is Strange game. So thanks Deck 9 for making such an amazing title that now I have to come on here and defend from these little chuckleheads that hate Life is Strange right now. And now I gotta like say like, man, how great your game is. So thanks Deck 9. Thanks. That's what I gotta say about it.
I didn't realize you thought that highly of it.
I did. So jokes aside, bit aside, I like this game a lot.
Right.
Like it is. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say my initial thoughts going into it, my first hour going into this, and it became like kind of like the almost in the way that double exposure picks up, essentially, where it's like very in your face, double exposure, but also for the first Life is Strange, where it's like the lighthouse kind of terror, and then coming back. I was like, oh god, we're missing the mark already. Like it's not supposed to be like this sort of jarring kind of sci-fi-esque. I got to hour 3, dude. I got to hour 3. I was already smiling. Like I was already just straight up just like smiling to myself. I was laughing at some lines. Dude, I went to this super carefully, like super what do you want to say? Is just like suspiciously optimistic, I want to say.
Yeah.
Because of how this game was marketed, I was suspiciously optimistic about this game. And going into it, I had that same mindset. My god, dude. Like what they did with this game, it's amazing. And the reason why I'm going to say, and but we're going to get into why, right? But I want to get into a little side note of like why I think this is near perfect based off of the context, because we have been reporting on this, right? Number one, they had to work with the dumpster fire that was double exposure. Like they had to work within that context of the dumpster fire double exposure. Number two, they had a year and a half to develop this, right? Less than a year and a half to develop it within the context of a dumpster fire and come up with a conclusion to Max and Chloe. Number 3, right? What I'm already thinking, okay, I don't want to give up too much, but I'm like, we all know that there's rewind in this game, but the way they implement this rewind is actually like really refreshing, dude. It's actually really, really nice to work with here. And finally, the last thing I want to say is just this is a completely different team. This is a completely different team from double exposure, because like we know like all the layoffs that happened with double exposure. We know Jonathan Stour was laid off, Felice Kwan. There's a lot of people who were laid off. So this like there was completely different people are coming into this game, including Jonathan Zimmerman, head writing to this game. I really like True Colors. I'm already a huge fan of True Colors from the get-go.
You know, with John as well, I think he wrote Chloe Price for this game. I don't think he writes all of it. I think he is the co-director with Christopher Sicker. I know Christopher Sicker was the co-director earlier this year. I got told about that. I didn't realize that because
you can roll the credits and find out who it is.
Yeah, like I mean, but like when it obviously being quite cryptic because it was never going to be Frost. Like, and when people are saying it's Frost, like you don't know Stefan Frost. Like, go and watch the interview that we did. Like, you can see Frost is just not a Life is Strange guy, and Frost's role was very different at Deck 9. You don't understand like just because he is creative director doesn't mean he's just going to make games for them. But with with the actual credits, Iris Dauterman is the senior writer. I think Iris handles pretty much everything in there. There's no other writing credits other than Iris and just Iris, actually. Iris is the only one there. So, and Iris Dauterman, if you're wondering, it was one of the writers on the Expanse project, whilst Jonathan Zimmerman was the narrative director on that game. So a lot of it, kudos to Iris to be on the writing of that.
Yeah. Like, it's just so amazing to see, like, within the context. The only reason why I'm giving it, can I give my individual score right now? The only reason I'm going to give it, and I've been, dude, before coming on to this and going, the reason why I'm going into my second playthrough, I was about to give this a 5 out of 5. I straight up thought I was going to give this 100%, dude. Because, and the only reason is because I know the context of this.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 for the really insane effort to go into this within that context of, you have to work within the realms of double exposure, but also finish up a story that's been on for 10 years and do it in less than a year and a half. That context alone, the game that we got within that recipe, that's why I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. But because I want to go into this as an individual game, right? I want to go into this like, if I was just a Life is Strange fan, I didn't know the context, I didn't know the behind the scenes, I'm going into this for 4.5. I'm straight up, I'm standing on that. I'm standing on a 4.5.
You're for one of the Adnan and Riaz hardcore game of 4.5 out of 5 on the episodes.
I want to give this perfect score. I really do. It's just like, because I'm going into it, like, okay, what if it was out of context? And I'm seeing this in the eyes of my wife. My wife was like watching me play it, and even my wife was saying like, "Oh, damn, I want to replay Life is Strange now." Like, it got to her in a way. It's just like, wow, that's what made Life is Strange special, and we got all that within those contexts.
Yeah.
So, I think this was a damn near amazing game. Like, I thought this was damn near perfect for what a Life is Strange game could be. And I think this is what Life is Strange fans were hungry for a long time, right? True Colors was kind of on that ask of being a Life is Strange game, but didn't really hit that mark. It was just a really nice game. But I think this one, a lot of fans were hungry for this.
Yeah.
Like a very good consequence to your choices, a consequence to what you think life is. And we'll walk into that as we get more into the spoiler cast. I don't want to give too much away, but from what I played and going to the second interview and seeing my wife's reaction to this game, I'm standing on that 4.5 out of 5.
Jesus.
I'm standing on that, dude.
Big compliment that. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, so when I go into Blue Sky and it's the dog barking, I'm barking at the fans right now. I am gonna bark at the fans, buddy. You come at me saying like, "Oh, this was near perfect." Yeah, barking at you, buddy. Barking at you.
That is surprising. I didn't know that. I did not know where you stood on it because, like, as I said, we did not record this up. But like, ultimately, I deeply admired that team that worked on this game because, like, I saw them working on this game behind the scenes and saw little sneak peeks in between things, and I knew that this was the production team. I think when we were talking on the podcast and having to be cryptic about things, there were certain things that were happening, and the one that was constant, and I even tweeted about this as well, the production of some of the actual people that will be on it, the Expanse team had been moved on to it pretty much because of all the layoffs. Like, the remnants of John Stauder's project and also Felice Kwan and stuff, this is not that game. That double exposure project, you can just see how the game is suited and how it's built. This is not that. They have massively pivoted the way the direction the story goes. It's obvious. You don't even have to be an industry insider. We'll come inside into the spoiler cast. They're just moments that just tell you so much about what's happening here. And it's, with John Zimmerman, it's never any doubt of where he's at because of what he did with Before the Storm and also with True Colors as the narrative director as well. And I think the main thing for me was that people were very much unaware of Iris Dauterman and especially John Zim together, because, like, even in itself, like, if you haven't played The Expanse, you need to play it because you don't understand how highly thought of Stefan Frost Deck 9 team was at
Yeah.
that studio. They put so much value in that team, and it showed because the substance was there with them. And it's like, you can see them in the credits. Frost is an executive producer. Jessica Valdez is a producer. They basically took up the helm of the Life is Strange franchise after pretty much nearly every executive person who was on that original DE project had been laid off. And with Iris, I remember watching some of the interviews, because after we did all our interviews as well for the Expanse and stuff, I watched some of her interviews with Pax East. She's a Pax East, Pax West, whichever one it was. She's an incredibly talented writer. And if you've played the Expanse and you've seen Maya and you've seen Drummer together in that love romance relationship, you know what you're getting with Life is Strange Reunion, and you know what you're going to get with Max and Chloe. Like, they know how to write that romance route and two characters. I remember I saw so many shades of Maya and Kamina Drummer in the way that they were handling those two characters.
Yeah.
Like, it just, their signature was all over it. And in itself as well, people like, it's like, it's great getting actors, great getting people to work on it that know the characters. Obviously, Zimmerman has a history. Iris Doutman has never written for a Life is Strange game. This was her first outing on that. She's now at Telltale. Jonathan Zimmerman's at Telltale. Telltale have just got two massive acquisitions, and they'd be very stupid not to capitalize on that now in terms of the people that they've just brought through the door. With this,
I cannot wait for the almost 2 now.
with this game, it's a flawed game in parts. It can't overlook the issues it's got, because it's been done in a ridiculous amount of time that they've turned this game over. You're not thinking this. They were not making this at the same time as Double Exposure. Do not believe that. That is just obvious. Even when we've talked about some of the developers who publicly tweet about it and the conception and the timeline, this has been made. And what makes it even more crazy is how fast they've turned this over and how fast they've done it as well. I would even say, when I've used my Lightning Returns example, this is a better example of making a better version of Lightning Returns when they're trying to do the redemption arc of Final Fantasy 13. It's very good, because they did exactly what you needed to do. And also as well, and to point this out, because Adam called out this commenter, the same person that said to me and Adam, oh, they won't get rid of Vinlang, and they won't put Safi on the sideline, and they won't get rid of this. Yeah, how do you say about that? How does that feel?
It's kind of like, we'll get into that, but it's kind of like yes and no. You know what I mean? Like, we'll get into that.
You're there to bounce off the story. That's your purpose. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like they're there.
Yeah, we'll come on, as you say, we'll come on to
but
that.
We'll get into that.
But it's still,
we'll come to that and comparing.
Yeah, otherwise you're surplus to requirement, and it was proven in this game. It's inherently flawed, and it has that issues, because like in itself, even doing the pivot and changing, if you like DE, you might not like this game, because you brought Chloe Price back in it, you brought it front and center. You might even not like it because you decided that decision of eliminating Chloe Price from the original game, and then you've destroyed player agency by touching it. Unfortunately, in modern day capitalism and everything else, anything you love and cherish is going to be touched in some kind of way, shape, or form. It's never going to stay sacred now. We live in that world where these things happen, and it is. I was very, very, aside from some of the issues, I was very, very impressed with what the Expanse team did. And I sent God knows how many tweets out in 2024 saying that this is the team that has to lead the next Life is Strange game. And I could not have been more vindicated by the talent that was on it. They did a really good job with what they were dealt with. This is not revisionist history. This doesn't escape some of my other criticisms I have for this game, but they really took it in the direction that it needed to. They grounded it. They made it darker. They put the jeopardy up. They increased the stakes. They didn't just necessarily walk over it. And my biggest fear with this game was, and my little hesitation going into it with some of the previews and stuff was, I was like, how much does Square Enix have its grubby hands over this game in terms of its fingerprints? And thankfully, they let go on quite a lot of it. And I'm like, this is where the direction took it. This is where they were able to create the game that they did. So it created that quote unquote better experience, because you were basically able to deal with just characters. As I said, that camera had to stay fixed on Max and Chloe. It had to stay on it, and it did. It never drifted away from them too long enough. That's why when I said like those other characters, and you were making that argument, or come into the podcast, that's why they are essentially surplus to requirement. You're just there for the sake of it. The camera stays on Max and Chloe, and it has to stay on Max and Chloe. It can't drift away. And I enjoyed it. I thought that the redemption arc was there. Did I ever doubt Iris Doutman's, John Zimmerman's ability? No. I doubt the ridiculous nature of how Double Exposure ended and the absolute massive pivot you'd have to do to it. They did the pivot. They created that. And that was enough to make the story where you can actually make it into something else. Could this have been a better game? Of course it could have been, because if you scrap Double Exposure and you started from the beginning, that was my dream. that 4 year, I even said it on the preview episode, if they'd given that development team, the Deck 9 development team, the Expanse Remnants, that 4 year development period to do this game, it would have turned out 50 times better than what it was.
Oh God,
It was all
Yeah.
it was all hands on deck, and let's get it out, and like people are scrambling around everywhere. You saw what happened to Square Enix afterwards when they started laying people off. It's a shame because of like how quick it's been turned over and some of the issues that have come with it, some of the bugs and stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Ultimately, though, I think they did a lot, and I think one of the big things as well, the big questions when people said, "Does Deck 9 land games?" They infamously don't land games. I also again said, very much argued, and this was it because people don't want to seem to accept it's a Deck 9 game. Did the Expanse land? Of course it did. The way it sets up the Expanse and the way it sets up Kamina Drummer's story, it's like, I remember playing that game. I was like, that is a really good ending. That I was like, the way you set up Kamina Drummer, I was like, perfect. And I'm not someone who's even in the Expanse mythology, but they brought the people in to land the story. They land, in my opinion, they landed the ship. It might be a bit messy, but during the aftermath, you might open the cupboard up and all the things fall out afterwards because of stuff that happens.
Sure,
that's fine though. You've landed the characters in a safe place. You've created something that's a bit sustainable. You've changed the reception in the fan base. The expectations were so low that everyone's expectations have now been lifted with a little bit of like, oh, this is amazing, despite where the franchise finds itself. I really enjoyed it for large parts. I really enjoyed it. I want to go back and see certain playthroughs because I haven't fully finished it all. But I think the way that I think you made the right sense as well, because when the game starts, it kind of like starts going into that like mythos, doing a little bit like a bit too supernaturally, and it's like, oh my God, I'm like, are they going down that really kind of like
I was like really thinking like, oh, they're gonna miss the mark here.
Yeah.
Dude. They're gonna miss the mark of what Life is Strange is,
Yeah, and it feels quite cartoonish, and it's kind of like, okay, but when it gets darker and the themes settle in, again, it's very expansive. Like the way the dark themes settle in, it's like some of the storytelling. I was like, yeah, very, very happy with it. I was very, very happy with it. Where I stand on it, a 4.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't get over the glaring bug issues at the minute because there's God knows how many, and I was sending you tons of them as well because I was like,
Well,
my
here's
Lord.
the thing though. Let me try to get you up to a 4.5.
Well, you can do
Did
that
your
later
game-
if you want, because obviously.
Well, like, let me ask you something about the bugs real quick. Did your game ever break? Like you couldn't progress in the game? Or was these more aesthetic bugs?
The only one that I did was when I backed out to the menu for the Braxis one where the lighting was a bit issue, and I sent you a photo of that. That's the only time I was left of it.
That's more of an aesthetic bug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even like the hair coloring on the lake, which isn't just Max and Chloe, by the way. I've noticed that with other people too. That's like a lake issue. With the cup not being there. That's all like aesthetic, like Skyrim level like bugs, right? But there was nothing game breaking. I never stopped like within that year and a half. Like you have to rush this game out. You think there would be some game breaking bugs, like your save gets corrupted, or you can't progress in the story because like a door won't open.
Yeah,
like any of that. It was smooth, dude.
Yeah,
it was smooth. And I'm gonna say this: I put my game on performance mode and not quality mode. Oh, butter, dude, butter on my PS5, Gutty. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna say this: that like, yes, there are bugs in this game, but they're just aesthetic and not game breaking. And I think that's just equally as impressive with how much they rushed this game.
Yeah, but they had the foundation for it. I think this is where people don't understand the game development time frame. You're so spoiled with how you're so kind of like sorry to spoil. You've kind of got this kind of preconceived notion of how long it takes to make a game.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how you can make a game and how efficiently fast you can as well. And a couple of things I noticed where I was like, this is actually quite thingy about it. It ultimately we'll continue on to the collective discussion afterwards. And I think Double Exposure's other segment we had planned, we'll just kind of fuse it into this as well because it's already having been done.
Yeah.
I will say one thing though, as well, and this is just my thing. I think shame on Deck 9 and Square Enix for not including more people in the credits of that. I know they give John Stauder a shout out, which I was surprised with, and Felice Kwan as well. And they've kept certain elements of what they were previously planning. But, and this is just for me as well, and especially for art and creative, you might not be involved with anything. And it's not because they've been on this podcast and stuff, but I think it's to the shame of Square Enix and Deck 9 not even to put a special thank you or a message in that section to people like Baka Shah and his development team that made Kaladin. in the early part. He was the lead level designer on Double Exposure with his team. And I found it really distasteful that you didn't include him in the credit with his team, because they built Caledon University. Even if you've changed a lot of parts of it as well, still aesthetic shots and moments in there are obviously made by
Overlook.
yeah, like there's to certain locations that are still their property. Look, it's a property of Square Enix. It's now in that IP, etc.
Yeah.
I find it just really a little bit thinking like you could have easily put them in there saying
Yeah.
special thank you, and you could have included more people in there. It's not just
And
him.
they gave credit to Felice Kwan and Jonathan Stouter.
But-
like they gave Stouter the credits.
Well, I mean, like they put Webb in there, but Webb's obviously on the mocap dev service at that point as well. And I think like with John Stouter, obviously it's the preconceived early stuff. So obviously before they've done the pivot, they've obviously included all that stuff. Because I think Mark Dose is in there as the co-cinematic director and stuff. So it's like they've got a lot of people in there that have kind of like obviously done probably.
But in that same argument, Backer was in that early developments.
I agree.
Technically speaking,
I agree. I think there should be more people from the Double Exposure credits. Not just him; it's also other people as well, like people who've done like the environment and the designs and stuff. Like you should give them a shout out because they are part of this project. They might have got laid off and you've planned it, but you've obviously planned the sequel in some way, shape, or form, whatever the final version of it
we're
is.
not asking for you to give him a Super Bowl ring. We're asking you to like type a name in the same font that you have.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, he might take a Super Bowl ring, but that's on him though.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, like but I'm just saying, like with him, I found it because we were doing the interviews and stuff, and like when you see someone talk with passion and like when he shouts out his team and stuff, I'm like, shame that's a big shame. And I will say that with Square Enix, they should really have like even Square Enix and Deck Nines collectively should have thought about including more people in. But anyway, we'll move on from that. But yeah, I think the kind of inclusion in Double Exposure, Jesus Christ, it's some milestone. And I think that was where my skepticism was, because I was like, does Square Enix let go of the leash here and give Deck Nine that freedom to do it? And they did. They let go of the leash to the point where it's like, okay, you make the pivot, and they made the massive pivot that needed to be happening with the sequel, and then you get the product that was delivered. That's what caught me more by surprise. Not Zimmerman being involved, because he's really, like, again, I've said it before, spoke to a lot of people about that guy, and I never ever heard anything bad about him. Not that I ever expected to anyway. I should really FYI that, but it's more about the fact that everyone was like, he's just really meticulous with his work. He's really detailed. Guy won a Peabody Award for True Colors. He's not some person that's just kind of being brought in for the sake of it. And the same with Iris. I hope she has a really wonderful career going forward. I'd love to interview her. I think she'd be a fascinating interview for someone to kind of talk to, because she just understands characters. She knows what she's writing, and it's really grounded the way the story is told. So yeah, really impressive. We'll come back onto the review scores afterwards. I think Adam said, like, bring it in just in case you were on the fence and you're wondering if you should buy this game. That's kind of like our early kind of conception of where we're at. So we'll dispute the review score at the end, because like now we're at a bit of a tug of war. I think it was a tug of war Double Exposure, but I think it was bringing the score down. I think it was at that point.
I'm bringing it up, babe, because like, again, I think my initial thoughts about this game, it's as close. And again, I'm biased because we've been reporting on, because we know the behind the scenes, because we know who was laid off, and who, like, everybody that had to come in, and like this entire team fearing for their jobs as they're making this game, because they know this is probably the end of the road for them.
Do you know what? We'll come
know what I mean?
We'll come on to that point as well in a little bit, because it is one of those things where you probably just know you're getting laid off, and it's like, and you know that's going to happen, but you're also making a game. But
knowing all that, like, I'm just to say my initial thoughts about my score of like a 4.5. Knowing all of that, I went to this game super biased because of it, and the game I played, and the story I played, and the capabilities of the rewind in this game, I was just like, you know what? I am thoroughly enjoying myself. I want to jump back in. Like, I actually want to jump back, dude. I was working on the soundtrack for an independent game, and I rushed a track just so I could jump back in and like play this game again, dude. It's fine. He likes the track. It's cool. I work fast, but like I rushed it. Like I was like, okay, we're done. Back to Life is Strange, dude. So yeah,
do you know what?
I thoroughly enjoyed this game.
Let's push it into the other section, because there's a massive chunk for a story one. We're going to have to focus on that. Move into the gameplay, as you will. So obviously we're at the gameplay.
Or are we comparing this to Double Exposure?
No, I've fused it into that other section, because otherwise we are going to be here for years. And you kind of bled into it anyway when you were thinking. I was like, right, it's just going to come in here. That's why I started talking about it. So let's move into the gameplay part. This is where the spoilers start, guys. Your warning started at this point. It's going to be spoiler territory from here on out. It has to be included. Gameplay comes in at this point. for me at this point as well, like with the rewind is better than backtalk. Backtalk has dated very well. And I'm going to bring up again as well, as I said, my boys at the French studio Big Bad Wolf that you love with the council, they made that game in 2017, 15 or something it was, and they already made a better version of backtalk, which was that confrontation mechanic. It had RPG elements in it. It infused. They've literally transplanted backtalk from BTS onto this game, and even limited it in certain ways, because like some of the encounters are very hard, where it's like just like one chance and you fail depending on the situation. I think that needed more refining. But again, if the development period had been there, I'm sure they would have evolved it, which is where the weakness starts with that. Ultimately, with Rewind, I was 50-50 at times. I think what they did was that they did certain things really well, including like moments with Loretta Rice, where it's like, can you rewind further back as well? And you can keep rewinding further back in the conversation. So you obviously change the outcome of it. And it works as well. It just,
can we warn the people, like, we're about to go into spoilers?
I said it about 2 minutes ago.
Okay, just making sure that like everybody knows we're in spoiler territory.
Also, as well, it's
beyond aware.
To your own detriment, Quinn, to this channel. Like, what do you think we talk about? Like, I'm being honest, like, you know, to your own detriment here. But yeah, it is spoilers. You can rewind with the stuff with Loretta, and it sometimes works with that. It just, again, it needs that, like, the development time's not there to make the game. It doesn't feel fresh. Ironically, as well, Split from Double Exposure feels more new as a thing, as like a different kind of concept. And this feels like, okay, cool, we've got the nostalgic beats and it's got moments where it works and it's enjoyable. But I'm a bit like, is this it just for rewinding? Am I just rewinding? It's like, you know?
Can I just tell you though that like I feel the rewind mechanic was studied from the first game.
Yeah.
Like it was absolute. But that's what I mean though. Like you're asking almost for like a Call of Duty like
but
level, just like rewind. So
it looks like it.
Yeah,
look,
but like
in a real sense, it does look like a True Colors clone in certain ways. That's not disrespectful. That's saying that the game hasn't evolved. The franchise hasn't evolved. This is a Square Enix issue. What I'm saying is like, why is this series not evolved? Telltale was doing this for years before it collapsed. You can't just keep replanting the model where it's like, here are the True Colors like kind of like models and you're moving around, and here's just rewind from 2015, but we're not revitalizing it. They'll argue that they have, because they'll say you can rewind at any time and it's kind of like has that bit more freedom, but it still doesn't feel like completely there in certain ways. Sure, a couple of puzzles and stuff, but I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, you know, and again, I understand the limitations as well because of the development period, but I'm a little bit like, you know, it needs a bit more, man. Like compared to Split, it does feel like a bit like, I'm like, hang on a minute, what? That was like, they put so much time towards that as well to make something like that.
See, I'm arguing that like they used rewind to tell a story.
Yeah.
And that is exactly why Life is Strange was so special, because they used rewind not as a gameplay element. It was a puzzle solver, but it was the implementation. Like you will have things in your life that you want to rewind, that you want to like take back, but in the end you can't. Like reality is the way it is. And they used rewind to tell a story rather than to be like furthering gameplay.
Yeah.
They focused more on telling a really good story rather than making you like feel like, man, this is a good video game. Like I went into this as a really, really excellent story. And they get further into like, when I said they studied the ultimate spoilers right here. Ultimate spoilers. Just
you're in it. You're in it. I'm sorry if you get caught by it. I don't know what you've been watching or what you decide to click on. That's your decision. Yes. We're in spoilers. We've been in it for ages. So like that's it.
When Chloe, like she gets exploded off the tower, and the rewind just gets sucked back a little bit. You're trying to save Chloe. That's me reminding me of the Kate Marsh on the
roof,
like jumping off the roof situation, where that rewind was there to tell you a story that like you don't have the power. Sometimes people will die. And I straight up thought, dude, when that was happening, I was like, you're not about to kill Chloe, dude. You're not about to bring Chloe back after all these years just to be like, yeah, so she smashes her head in, kind of like Gwen in Spider-Man. So just gets knocked out like that. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but the way that they use that rewind to tell a story, that's where I was just like,
yeah,
Oh, and they studied Life is Strange 1. And you gotta admit, here's the thing though. They weren't doing this to further gameplay.
No.
They're putting a horse out to pasture here.
Yeah.
Like Life is Strange has been like Life is Strange is a sick horse that they've been just trotting along. And at this point, they are not trying to like make the horse healthier. They are just like saying, like, hey man, the horse is going to a special farm. Okay. The horse is going to a special farm. Remember the horse, okay? Remember the horse of how it was. Now look away, Timmy, and close your ears because the horse is going to the farm now.
Like in itself.
But what gain would they have to like evolve the gameplay with a dying franchise?
Well, the thing is though, as well, they technically evolve her powers during the story, but you don't get access to it, which is the annoying part. So it's like even when she's rewinding that sequence in that clip, you don't actually get to do the power, which is the frustrating part because it's like the series has never been about power. What I'm saying is it's you can see it's stagnated the franchise. Like they've left it in the place where it has been since 2015, barring motion capture technology and moving a couple of things around. It's been limited.
Yeah.
And it's caught up to the time of where we're at in 2026. I'm not expecting Max to be like, you know, jumping around with like an AK and stuff. But I'm saying like, even that, for example, you put it into a cutscene, that should have been something that could have been brought in earlier had you had the development time and frame and stuff like that, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But like in itself, they evolve the power throughout the entire story. I was talking to Alex about this as well. Like Moses is cryptically teasing things throughout the game where it doesn't break the parameters of Life is Strange 1's powers. What they're doing is they're constantly evolving certain sequences, hence why Max gets to at that point, because she's rewinding in a certain kind of way. If you see what she's doing, it's like, okay, that makes a little bit of sense of how they're trying to create loopholes here to kind of get to the power thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense with it. I don't know, for me, it just feels like cheap, nostalgic parlor tricks, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It's in the place.
Here's my devil's advocate for you. Like, how would you want to evolve then? But you only have a year and a half to develop this evolvement without game-breaking bugs.
Hey, I'm not arguing.
You know what I mean?
I'm not arguing against it. I already argued the fact that Split was a stupid evolution of Rewind, and they got rid of that, didn't they? They'd all like, oh well, this is actually a thing. We'll just merge the timelines together, and it's like, oh, actually, here's an atrophied powers that's now being reactivated conveniently, as you all do.
But that's what I mean, though. It's like I'm giving this a near perfect score because of like what we had.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving you a 4.5, like A for effort kind of deal. You know what I mean? Not A because like, damn, you studied really hard. Like, hey, dude, fucking A for effort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's what I mean, though. And I'm coming in this super biased. Now, like 5 years down the road, somebody does not know the context. They pick up this game 5 years later. Are they going to give this a 4.5 out of 5? Probably not.
No.
You know, but I am and I want to not just tell you, I'm telling the audience, I am extremely biased when I say it because I know the back end of this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think
I'm giving this an A. Yeah, an A for effort kind of thing.
I think like because like again, it's like those little limitations. Like even outside, like it's not saying that I don't hate that rewind. I enjoyed it. It's just like you kind of yearn a bit, like we move a bit forward, we change things, and it's like because it's so constrained with the development, they can only do so much of it, and it works in certain places. I enjoyed it. It unfortunately like waves off a little bit because of like even itself as well.
Sure.
Even the rewind waves off a little bit until like towards the end, when you just point that sequence out. That's the big jeopardy that you have to build towards. But previously to that, it doesn't have that with the Life is Strange things. It's like, oh, maybe I can rewind Loretta Rice's conversation. It's like, do you really care at this point? It depends on where you're at, but as you will.
So I do want to say that. Which direction did you go for Loretta going to the Abraxas or not?
We'll move into that in a minute for story because I think probably just makes sense. But I'm kind of wrapping up with gameplay.
But,
like with the puzzles, they're fine, and some of them were nice, and I think they that's where they tapped into Max's powers better. Where it's like you can take an item, you can hold on to it, rewind and stuff, and that's grand. I think the photo mode, it's like there's not even a photo mode. It was like a free photo use and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I was like, this is.
But again, A for effort to put in a photo mode with a camera. Like you can take a screenshot of the camera.
How is this franchise in 2026 and it doesn't have the most peak fucking photo mode? The main character is a photographer. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, look, this is where I go into Adnan mode. But I'm just saying, and again, I understand the development period and stuff like that, but it doesn't excuse the fact of where the franchise has ended up because Square Enix. How do you not have a peak photo mode in this game? And even when it has that double exposure effect, I'm like Ooh, I'm
Yeah,
like, are we
no,
still
like
using
I
that?
saw the double exposure. I saw the double exposure thing, and when we got to like when we first meet Safi, dude, I replayed that over and over again. I'm like, am I supposed to like reveal Safi because of the double? And I like, dude, the checkpoint over. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Am I supposed to reveal Safi
No,
right
I thought
now?
the exact same thing because I thought they were building up to that. I was
Yeah,
like, hang on a minute, didn't we figure out that she can do this because she's double exposuring onto other people? But then they'll be like, oh well, because we merged the timelines and we check. I'm like, do you know what as well?
yeah.
I will call you out on this, Deck 9. At the beginning of the game, when you
Okay.
do the recap and you explain that Safi's murders. No, you did not. No, you
Yeah.
lie. I'm gonna put a meme.
Oh,
Did you
I
see it?
skipped that completely. Who? I skipped it.
There's a little message where
Who is?
they're trying to wrap it all up and be like, this is how the series is going. And in there as well, there's a moment where it's like we completed the Safi story. We told out how she goes. It's like you motherfuckers did not do that. I was like, do not.
Wait. Who murdered Safi? Did they say it?
No, they say that they finished it. They said that we wrapped it up and we like made this story and we told this story. It's like a very phrase that they say in the recap, and I'm like, no, you didn't.
It's like Jonathan Zimmerman is like, he's like, fuck it. Like, we finished it. Don't worry about it.
We'll go on.
Don't worry about it.
We'll go on to it because there's a funny part with the characters as well. Like that, we need to discuss that. But yeah, moving the gameplay. We can move the gameplay aside if you want. If we can just go into the story if you want.
Yeah. Which, by the way, this is why I had my bit before. I'm like, screw you, Deck 9. Now I have to come on here and defend your stupid game from people like Adnan, from people like in the Life is Strange community. Now I have to come on here. It's my job now. I don't get paid enough for this job to defend your game. Okay, Deck 9. I'm sorry, most of you don't have jobs anymore, and that's really, really, really sad. But now I gotta do this. Thanks, Jonathan Zimmerman.
Speaking of
Own
Jonathan
tech.
Zimmerman,
Yeah.
Iris Startman, they weren't having that alderman smoke, and rightfully so. And also, you owe them an apology because you were like, "There's not going to be
I
Maya
didn't.
Okada," and I think they handled that They brought that in. They handled it
They
very
did.
well. And
Okay, so now we're gonna go into story, I guess, here.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, dude, like, man, the pivot in this story, dude. Wow, they kept all the important parts and they said, no, Alderman, I don't even know, never heard of them.
Well,
Like, did not even whisper Alderman.
But again, I said this as well. When you change the writers and you change it, even with like Lucas, right, and people didn't like him, you already had a very talented actor behind him. Like you understand what he does as well, Marco about Robinson. There's no doubting his acting range. It's the script and the people who are writing them. You're writing really cartoonish characters. So even Lucas, he comes across under the previous double exposure regime as just an outright pompous dickhead that you don't like, but with no redeeming factors or anything else. What it is with this one is they make him dislikable, but he's smug about it. One of my favorite parts is early in that sequence when Noel is fighting with Chloe in the backtalk, and he laughs and sniggers at Chloe. It's just nuance. It's so simple as writing, and you understand how much of a parasite Lucas is.
Once she says like Max Caulfield, he goes like fucking figures.
Yeah, and but that's what I mean. The delivery, the dialogue, it's just so much more simpler than just being that pretentious douchebag that they were setting up in double exposure. They don't know how to write when they were doing double exposure. Any of these characters, they just grounded them and put them in a place where it's like, actually, we do it. Even the Maya Okada storyline that they butchered because of all the stuff that was going on with double exposure, they grounded it. They added it to Safi's story. They made it relatable. They connected it to Chloe. And the biggest testament to Iris and John Zimmerman and even all the other development team that are working on it, Moses and Chloe working together as a dynamic, no one would have figured that being a thing that you could actually make happen. And yet they make it believable to the point where it's actually like, hang on a minute, you can see why Moses cares for it. If that option develops for you down the line, it's like, yeah.
It's exactly why, like, when we were talking with us and our mutual friend in the group chat, and like somebody in the group chat was like saying like, man, you can really tell they have like really good writers here, and I put it as like, you can tell they have writers, period.
Yeah, that's
like just period.
Massively.
Like it's just it was. So one of my friends, and I showed you like the Discord message that my friend sent me, because I put on Blue Sky like I finished Reunion. I have thoughts, and my friend Discord messaged me saying like, hey, he's been a Life is Strange fan from the very get go. Dan from Greatest Story Ever Played podcast. Boom. He's like, oh, I was thinking about skipping out on this. Like, should I? Like, is it better than double exposure? I was like night and day.
Yeah.
It is 100,000 times better than double exposure. He's like, oh, good. I was thinking about skipping. I was like, do not. Like, this is like, and that's what makes me sad about this story is that they have to follow double exposure, and that's going to leave a lot of like bad taste
Yeah.
in people's mouth, and they're not going to give this game a chance. But this is night and day storytelling.
Yeah.
Like within this game.
Yeah, no, this is like having Coke versus like soda bought Coke. This is just different tiers of writing. Like
This is like having soda versus seltzer.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's 100,000. You can say all you want, like, oh, I like seltzer. I like seltzer more than Coke. Shut up.
yeah.
I know.
This is like having
Coke.
Michael Jordan versus Allen Iverson. There's two different ballparks here. You know,
Whoa.
I'm joking. I don't know about basketball players, right? He's the only one that I can compare with that.
I got you here. This is like having Michael Jordan and I was gonna say Tyrese Halliburton, but I just hate Tyrese Halliburton. No, it's just like here's the thing. It's like having Michael Jordan and one of the fans in the stand.
Yeah, pretty
like
much.
that's what's happening right now. It is, dude. Between Jonathan Zimmerman and Iris Stouterman, like you say
Stouterman.
laughed.
Please say it's Stouterman. You said not Stouterman. Don't use don't double
Oh,
exposure.
my microphone. No, Stouterman. My microphone cut out probably. But between Iris and John,
Yeah.
They laughed the double exposure team. Dude.
Yeah.
They laughed them, dude. Like it was embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Of like and to have such little time to make a story so cohesive that it does essentially end the Max and Chloe arc and it ends the double exposure mark.
Yeah.
Like it's insane what these people did.
But again, even with John as well, like you've seen his work on True Color, so you know what he's doing there, and same with Before Storm.
Yes.
But again, with Iris and John, they do the same thing with The Expanse. Kamina Drummer is your main focus. Every other character bounces off it. Like, look at those scenes when Khan comes in, or when Tor comes in, or for example, Maya comes in. Yeah. They handle it so well, and they keep the focus there. And Kamina Drummer just like drives this story. It's the same with Max and Chloe. When I was watching, it's like you're handling it well because what you're doing is you're making these characters vibe off each other, but you're also giving them purpose. So it's like when Max has moved out of camera, Chloe can come in, but she can work with Moses because what you're doing is you're not treating Moses like an idiot. You're giving him character development and depth, and you're creating his own unique relationship with Chloe, and he has a different one with Max. And here's the best one as well. I love this touch. In the game, as it goes through, they create a group chat. So it's Max, Chloe, and Moses.
Yeah.
And that's the subtle touch of a great writer. It's like, we're slowly getting to it. And I laughed as well, because like, it's the only group chat you get in the game. But it makes sense because it's like, hang on a minute, why are these guys all texting each other separately? And it makes sense for Max, Chloe, and Moses now to have this combined relationship. A sign of a great writer who understands this character needs to work with this one needs to work together. Bring them together. Boom.
I have to say this with the storytelling of this game. You say you laughed at the group chat. I was just gonna I was gonna piggyback off of it. I haven't laughed and smiled in a Life is Strange game in such a long time, dude. I want to say probably since True Colors. Like
this podcast has changed.
Even True.
This podcast has changed. You've noticed the mood in like the 40 minutes. It's changed because like it has been somber. Layoffs. Oh yeah, Rosie Force turned up. Amazing. Layoffs. Bad game, double exposure, and it's the mood has changed. Of course it is. It's in the podcast. You're right about it.
That's what I mean, dude. Like even like since True Colors, because we were disappointed with Wavelengths. Like we were like we enjoyed Wavelengths, but ultimately we were like, like we understood it was the pandemic. People had to like shift in working remote. Like we understood the circumstance.
Yeah.
But like I haven't laughed or smiled in such a long time, dude. I'm gonna say this, that like the biggest thing that I was cracking up in was and our mutual friend picked up on this, where you spill the beer at the table and it's like spilling Frank's beans.
Yeah.
But what I really laughed at was like because it was the way Lucas was looking like, what you think of my podcast? It was just his puppy. I was like, well, what you think? And if you put out like, it was like hot garbage. I hate it. It was the most self-indulgent crap. And I've been to Williamsburg, dude. I lost it. I lost it, dude. I was laughing so
Yeah.
hard. And like when he's like, get out, Max says like, at least I got it off my chest.
Yeah.
I was just like, dude.
There's a funny interaction where Chloe calls him like a dildo head or something like Lucas. And then if you go in the journal, it's like an actual picture with Lucas got like a dildo on his head. And it's like, and it's again, they understand. But again, it's no different, Adam. Like, I'm going to keep using it. Look at Khan, for example. So funny, based on Stefan Frost's mother-in-law. And it's like, and then you look at how they write her as well, with like Doubtman and Zimmerman. They're writing her in this kind of really funny way. Like, there were only two of the writers, there's more writers in The Expanse, which was amazing. But they know how to write characters. And again, that's because the tone shifts as well, because it goes darker. And they did exactly what I wanted them to do. Make Abraxas the center. Make it a cultish like thing. My Temple of Doom thing has been vindicated here. We went full down that. They went, John Zimmerman and Christopher Sicker went full George Lucas in this. They were like, right, divorces are happening. I'm making Temple of Doom. Steven Spielberg, which is Zach Andrews in the background, like, don't do this. Like, no, we're doing this. It all fits together. We're going the dark route. I'm like, finally, Life is Strange is going down. It's like that clip from Family Guy when they're spoofing Star Wars and Peter is dressed up as Han Solo, and he says, I've had it up to here. He's like, you kill him, slice off his face, and dig up this hole. And it's like, and he's like, I've had it up to here. I've had enough of Ewoks and all this other stuff. He's like, I wanted to go darker, and it's like, yes, thankfully, we've now made it darker, moved away from the slapstick.
And they actually point out in the story that, like, yeah, it's kind of weird for me, Max, to be in education. I know I don't have the best experiences. They actually pointed it out that it's weird that Max is in education.
Yeah,
that's so weird, and it's like they point it out. And what I want to say with like the shift from double exposure, like Iris, Jonathan, the entire team knew what they had before them. They knew what mess they had to like kind of spill up, and they shifted in such a seamless and actually self-aware way that I was just like, that's why I'm like giving it a 5 out of 5 because of that. Like you're recognizing the mistakes of not even your mistakes. You're recognizing the mistakes that you have to clean up, and you're just like, like we're shifting this way. Alderman, not even whispering his name. Like, nope, he's not even like a wisp in the air at all. Like, the seamless way of how they just like, no, we're double exposure happened, but we're not going to recognize that. We're going to push forward.
There's also criticism here as well, because of how, and it's not, and maybe it's not their fault, but it is a criticism because of the fact they're building off of double exposure. We eliminate big plot points as well, which includes the fact that these people all have like two minds merged together and no one really discusses it. And it's like there's a trauma element there. Like I'm like, okay, cool. Max has got over her trauma from double exposure, apparently, as you were saying in double exposure's team. But it's like, hang on a minute, all these people have two minds and like, you know, merged memories, and yet they don't talk about it.
Although, and this is why I think Jonathan Zimmerman and Iris together, like that's what I mean. Both of them understand science fiction. Both of them understand it. But that's what I mean. With double exposure, they tried to they made believe of science fiction, like, ooh, spooky science. This one, they understood the gravity towards it, right? Where Chloe points out, like, well, I have all these memories and all this, but my mom's never mentioned it. And then Moses says, have you ever told your mom about these? We don't know what's happening. Right. Because everyone's kind of like, and this is how trauma is. Trauma is like internal. You don't speak about it. I'm not, no. I'm not trying to say like, oh, Adnan, you're wrong. I'm just saying that like, they did kind of point out,
well,
like,
they have to. They have to.
That's what I mean, though. That's what I mean, though. Like, they don't want it to be merged timelines because even Moses is like, you're in a paradox. And he's like, they're trying their best to write out of this mess that the double exposure team's like, no, the timelines merged. Why? I don't know. They just merged. Everybody's right.
I'll come back on to that. You don't have to respond to this, but it's just one of the things. Ivory Tower was mentioned quite a few times. It did make me think about a couple of things. Anyway.
I noticed that too.
Anyway, on the actual point of like that, they have to explain it, because like I don't buy the reason they explained it. I was like, right, but I'm like, again, pivoting and change. They're stuck with what they've got, and you have to kind of move in that. Like, it was that double exposure relic that was left there. And I was like, okay, you kind of have to explain it because like these people have like two minds and like they've merged into one world. And it's like, but again, because they've all been moved to the sideline, when you need to come in, you come in. To be honest, Safi's probably the best example where they've done it because they do give Safi that moment for it. But I think like with the other characters, it's not really happening. So I'm kind of a bit like, okay, so there's criticisms where there are a lot of criticisms within the story, but again, it's within the context of how they're making this and where they're positioned. It's not just a natural script process. You're pivoting off a massive direction, trying to go into a new place, and you are where you are. You know, same with Chloe as well. Like they try and ground her in certain kind of ways, and I think they do it well in certain ways. Otherwise, no, it comes across a little bit like I'm like, okay, it feels more BTS Chloe than it does one Chloe. I can't take that away from Deck 9 because it's their Chloe, their version of Chloe that they've done. So it's like, but again, because we're doing the straight continuity off of double exposure and then off the first Life is Strange, it has to be more like Don't Nod's Chloe because you have to make that Chloe. And it's like, come on, right?
Absolutely.
But I think one of the things I like,
it can't be Don't Nod's Chloe. It can't. See, this is why I hate you, Deck 9, right now. Listen, Jonathan Zimmerman, Zachary Andrews, especially you, Zachary, especially you, Hannah Telle, Corwin, all of you people. This is what I mean why I have a bone to pick with you, because now you've put me into a place where I have to defend you for this amazing game. I expect to get virtual kisses from all of you after this podcast, okay? Talking to you, Zachary. Talking to you. But when I say that, like, they can't make a Chloe from Don't Nod. They can't because it's not them. This is not from that team. They don't have that experience, right? That would be like you, like, hey, Adnan, make Caster Garden music. And you can try to get the essence. But that's what I mean, though. Like, in the same way, I can't be Mick Gordon. Like, I will never, no matter how much I shred on that red little guitar right there, I will never be Mick Gordon. I will never be that person. What I'm trying to say is that, like, it can only, as much, I think it'd be worse if they made it Don't Nod Chloe.
But I
think it'd be much worse.
But you can't make it as a de facto criticism because they're in the trenches. You've ultimately made this decision, all of you collectively, i.e. Deck 9, Square Enix, you made the conscious decision. You kind of have to own those situations. And it's like when you make that story continuation, which was never planned and it couldn't be planned and it couldn't be executed, you've opened Pandora's box. You kind of have to deal with what happens there. And I think they do.
They didn't open Pandora's box. We all know who opened Pandora's box here. We know who did it.
I'm not ready to do that, but like I think they do certain parts. I think like
I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to tell who opened the box.
In the journal, they do mention one or two things which are really good. Like even with Chloe, it's like they mention that she has a therapist and like she goes there and they say something to her and she's like, I'm out of it. I'm like, good. It's like a good touch to her kind of character development. You keep her going with it. You know, it's a fine line, but I think like, by the way, as well, my boat sequence played out very funnily. Did you? Can I tell you how mine went out with it? So,
yeah.
And if you went the way, so if you try and kiss her,
it was me, and you tried to kiss me.
Yeah, so if you try and kiss her the first time, obviously the boat rocks and they fall in. Which again, slapstick humor, very good on the nose, hilarious. I laughed. I was like, that's perfect. And then if you do it again, you can do it again, and they fall into the river again. And then you can try and do it again, but the third time it automatically cuts into a cutscene. And then Max just accepts the fact that she's tried too many times. And it's like, then Chloe even says, how many times did you try and do it? And she's like, twice. It's like, it owns up to it. I was like, outstanding. I was like, again, it feels believable. I'm not sitting here saying, why is Max behaving in a certain way? Why is she going into the dark room? She didn't even enter the dark room in this freaking game. I'm like, good, we are now not dealing with a character which is being mischaractered. You're just representing this loving relationship between two characters, these two characters that have a connection, and you're building off that. They don't mess with things. They don't mischaracterize Hannah. They don't mischaracterize Max. They keep it grounded. And I was so happy with the fact that they were just dealing with certain things. Again, there are issues with it. I'm not going to go through the entire thing of like, there shouldn't be in a sequel, blah, blah. I live in the 21st century. Modern day capitalism will spin off all kinds of things. We've done about 130 episodes so far, which we keep parroting the same line. I'm talking about just from the perspective of this game. It's like, you ground Max. She becomes believable. She becomes the Max that you feel like, actually, this is the Max that I wanted to see in Double Exposure. The one that's grounded. The one that has a bit of kind of like awareness. That is like conscious of decisions. Even when Max is like, I can't just jump back in a photo and do this. you're kind of sitting there like, oh, actually, there's my Max Caulfield that I left in 2015, and she's back. Like, finally, thank fuck for that. She's come back after the bastardization that they did in Double Exposure. It's like, finally, she's back and she's got a bit of self-awareness and reality. It feels like my characters aren't just dumb for no reason. It's like they actually act in moments. Even the other characters have positioned them. Even, for example, the basic example, they made Safi the character that she should have been in Double Exposure, and they gave her a redemption arc at the end of it, depending on how you get to the ending of it. Mine had a redemption arc. I was like, thank you. Now you understand not to write a really crappy Nepo baby character. You grounded her. Olivia Abiasi is fantastic because you give her the character of Dark Safi and you let her play into it.
Yeah.
She's not being a Chloe clone. And
not just dark, but just like bullshitting all the time.
Yeah.
Like she is just like,
mate,
she's more impish in this one.
Vin Lang, you grounded him.
Yeah.
You made him normal.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to act like a cartoon character. Why was he acting like that in the first game? Again, because you had bad writers.
What do you mean? All he was saying is like, would you have sex with this one? Or how about this one? Or
honestly,
like, what? Like, honestly,
well, again,
what do you mean?
It's that,
what do you mean? He was completely normal in Double Exposure.
But again, it was that thing with Lucas. I said, like, they made him dislikable, but they made him grounded dislikable. It wasn't that he was just, he had nothing about him. You made him that thing where it's like, actually, you're just a prick, and I can see it the way you're acting. It's like, good writing. Yeah. And same with Vin, good writing. Even Loretta Rice, which I was saying to me and Adam about each, it's like, you can see that character has become a 50 times better because they didn't flip-flop, because she was like love interest for Lucas before it, then they changed it.
Loretta?
Yeah, go on.
Can I just say something? Autism.
Jesus Christ almighty. We'll come into the podcast chat about that. Well, I think that's a reflection.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Dude, there were some times where Loretta was talking, I was like, oh, it's Adnan.
Oh, fuck you. Great.
I was like, oh, Adnan's here in the game.
Mate, they made Loretta Rice like an interest. I was just like, watch it. It's like,
yeah.
I'm going to come on the next episode. There's going to be a photo of Iris Stoutman here and one of Jonathan Zimmerman here. Yes. Like, they just, but again, that's right. You took characters and reeled them in.
We're talking about characters right now. I can't believe the wave of emotions that I felt with Yasmin in this story, dude. The wave. Like, I was finally rooting against Yasmin. Like, they try to make Yasmin the devil in Double Exposure. I was like, I don't get it. This one, I was like, oh, she is the devil. Oh, she didn't mean it. Oh, but she is the devil. Oh, should I trust her? I think I can trust her. Like, there was so much waves of like where Yasmin lies.
I was just like, man. How did your dynamic end with Yasmin at the end?
Of my first playthrough. So what do you mean dynamic? Like, she's back in power? Or
no, yeah, she's back in power of mine, but she held hands with Safi, and I was like, great writing.
Yeah,
but again,
she,
as you said,
yes,
they did the thing with Yasmin where it kept changing, where it's like she's not just a cartoon villain for the entire thing. Mate, even Owen Teller seems like that at first, and then when he dies, you were like, oh shit, the guy died. I'm like, yeah, I felt bad for him there as well.
Yeah,
it's like he redeemed himself, went in for his students.
With Yasmin, when they said like, oh, there's people from the board that were former Abraxas, and you find out Yasmin was not just former Abraxas, but she was part of it.
Expanding the lore,
buddy,
developing,
buddy. That was, I was just like, nice, dude. Like that's how I felt. I burped my my Monster Energy drink. I was like, hardcore gaming, and so I got in, man, dude. When they revealed that she was former Abraxas and within the innermost secret, I was just like, that is such good writing. And you had Yasmin explain her part, dude. Yeah. Like, she was the only adult in this situation. This is why I told my friend. That's why I said to my friend, this is night and day compared to like Double Exposure, dude. Like, I told my wife, like, she's like, because she's seen me play Double Exposure, and she's like, oh, I would want to play it. I'm like, hey, you don't need to play. I don't think you need to play Double Exposure to enjoy this game. Like, I really don't think you do. There's that like that highlight reel in the beginning where you can like watch like, oh, this is what happened to, but really, let's play the first Life is Strange and then play this game.
That's
Honestly,
part of the pivot, because what they've done there is they've made it quote unquote a direct sequel to the first Life is Strange again. So what they've done is it's a sub sequel to Double Exposure, but again a direct sequel to the first Life is Strange. So you only really need to play the first Life is Strange to really get a lot of it, because again it's a Max and Chloe centerpiece what they've done with the story. So it's very clever. And again, and the sign for that as well, for example, is the fact that they wrote Diamond out of the story, because Diamond comes into it very briefly.
No. They didn't write out any of the side characters. What are you talking about? They wouldn't do that.
But again, look, they handled it well. Like even with Gwen sent you a text, which was quite nice that they ended that with it. But they decided not to use her because it's like, actually, hang on a minute, we've got so much going on here anyway. Let's just move her out. And unfortunately, she's one of the better characters, but they did it well. Where I think when the text comes in, I was like, that's nice that they actually included that, because like, it makes sense with where her story is. But with Diamond as well, like again, that was such a late addition to freaking Double Exposure, and it caused that mess of it. They're like, no, we're just going to move this out of the way. So they moved it into that other kind of story. And then when it starts with that conversation on the phone, it's like, yeah, God. It's like you've actually done what needed to be done there. And it's like, just leave it. And they cryptically tease something else where it's like, don't worry, nothing else is going to happen from that. But it's like, we just kind of left it there. I'm like, God.
I kind of wish they made Diamond to the president of Abraxas rather than Reggie, because we find out Abraxas wasn't originally like a bro team. It was a equality feminist group, like originally before. So if Diamond was the head, I feel like there could have been that dynamic where like Diamond is trying to turn it back into the original idea.
They didn't do it because they brought her powers into it, and you'd have to explain that, and it comes into factors of it.
That's true. Like, that's what I mean. Like, there's some things, but by the way, like, it's kind of like, this is how I feel coming out of, because I just recently came out of Project Hail Mary. After, like, I've read the book, and it's just like one of those things, oh, why didn't they put this in? But, like, kind of what you said. The situation in this story is kind of like with Project Hail Mary. I'm like, I understand why they left that out.
Yeah.
I get it. Like with Diamond, I'm like, they could have. But like you said, they would have to explain that she has powers. Do we want to?
This is what you're saying is exactly right, because I think it's like imagine if Jonathan Zimmerman and like Iris Dalman are in front of a chessboard, and it's like moving the pieces, like which ones are we keeping, which ones we're sacrificing right now, and you have to do that because like they're not starting from a blank slate. They have to decide who to sacrifice at this point. Diamond's there because like you create a power situation where they try to do it on a phone call and they explain it. It's like, well, they explain it in the sense that, it's like, me, you and Safi are very similar because we all have powers. It's like, cheers, Diamond, see you later. They basically caught her because it's like, at this point, what you're saying is cool because you can link it back to the women's equality thing and like, it's the women's Abraxas League and stuff. But the minute she comes in, wait a minute, didn't Diamond have powers? Oh shit. And it's like, no. You have to sacrifice, and Reggie. Remember, Reggie's not used as much in that first game, so it's like, actually, hang on a minute, we have a bit more of a blank slate.
Yeah.
Now we can expand on him and
exactly.
It's clever,
and he's a lot more anxious. And by the way, like having that lore of Abraxas was originally, dude. Like the lore in this game, the lore is just fantastic, and they only had a year and a half, like less than a year and a half, and the lore is just outreaching. Not only that, but like there was a secret, and it was a local that came in and drank the punch, and now they're feeling, dude. I'm impressed with the writing, man.
Again,
the Double Exposure team had. Yeah,
but we spoke to Frost. We did interviews with Zach Andrews. Like we knew what the talent was on that project that they did, and it's a shame because the Expanse didn't bomb or anything else. It just underperformed. Like to be honest, that game could have easily like met its sales expectations and stuff. But that's a different conversation. It wasn't like a AAA behemoth game that they were making. But like we knew the talent that was on it. That's why the production team. I'm like sitting there thinking like, how do you pivot from this? How do you do it? And it's like, again, where the publisher lets Reigns go it, and then you create that 1 year half script and how they did it. It's like, you see the magic that's getting created. Like, even when they flesh out Abraxas, good, because you basically done what Emma wanted to do with the comics, where she wanted to expand the Vortex Club, because she wanted to go into that history of it. It's like, get a writer and they can do something like that. It's like, wow, we can do it. And they did that. They went down the cult route. They made it darker. They expanded the lore of Kaladin. It's like, fucking hell, man. It's like, finally, the game's got a bit of a universe here. Like in that universe, it felt like Kaladin actually had it. I was like sitting there thinking, like, I even bet you like Backer and his boys, the guys who made the actual maps, were like, oh wow, these people are really like making our history in this game. And it's like fucking too right they are, because they're making it interesting, aren't they?
By the way, I love that gang name, Backer's Boys.
Backer's Boys. It must be there. Like
Backer's Boys.
That's what they were doing when they were making that map. And like, but again, do you know what it is as well? And because you mentioned him as well, and I mentioned him as well. It's like when he suggested the Max earphone moments, for example, like, as a throwback. It felt like that within this game. They laced it with moments. Again, there are problems with reunion and stuff that can't be eradicated. But again, that's part of their fault, but also as well because of what they were inheriting. And it's like ultimately you get those moments. Like again, it's how Kaladin, it's like, you know, it's limited, and it's like we've seen it a couple of times, and they really have to rely on the Abraxas house to kind of be one of the settings where it's like that. It's like, right, that's one of the locations, and this part of the quad is the other part of the location, and then a bit of the, you know, bit inside the fab building where they've kind of revamped it. So they're very limited on scope and environments. It kind of needed, but it looked nicer to look at because you can start seeing the visual environments. It's like actually, it's not all just covered in snow. It's like really somber. It's kind of like, oh, actually fits it a bit more.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, those moments were great. There was some really good moments in this story. I felt like Safi's story was good. I enjoyed Safi's story because I'm like, you're leaning into who she is. Even when she was shapeshifting into characters, like, fantastic. Now we're using the shapeshifter well, because once you've eliminated the surprise of a shapeshifter, then you have to create that expectation. And then slowly you started seeing it. I even love the fact that when Max clocks onto Safi being the shapeshifter to start with because she's smoking, it's like, there we go. We are being clever because we have two very gifted writers coming onto the project who are moving it. You have two great co-directors who are trying to move the project forward. So you're now revamping the scope of the project. Again, dealing with factors that are out of your control, and I can only criticize certain parts of that. There are certain things that they could have done, I think, maybe a bit more for themselves, but that's on them. But I think like they did deal with things better. Even Safi's story, I was like, fucking great. I was like, fantastic here, you know? And even the side of a good writer, they don't dabble too much into the merged universe. Do you when like Chloe goes in there with Safi, and it's the lighthouse and it's the walk, the thing. They don't do it too much. They do it enough times where it's like, good, measured, balance. We're going in there, here and there, and even the setup for the fact that Max is there. When like, because I think Safi does sacrifice herself in one of those situations, and when she's with Chloe at the end. And it's like I was like, oh shit, they about to solve a double exposure and ruin my life here. I was like, no, they didn't. I was like, right, it's like they just left it as it was. But again, they measured that well. They did that really well as a sequence on top of that scope. I was like, perfect. And even that like Jeopardy, Max and Chloe and Safi talking. Even, for example, because we haven't talked about it, the setup for the final act, and you get to the evidence board, was a throwback to the first Life is Strange in episode 4.
Oh yeah,
it's like Max's mapping things. It's like,
I always said to my wife, dude, like when it like asked you, it's like, oh, you want to come to a consensus? Are you sure? I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like they are just like they are not holding your hand in this game. I was like, I'm used to Life is Strange games. Like, come on, sweetie, we're going down this aisle. It's like this team was like, no, fuck you. Did you do your homework? Did you do your homework? I'm like, oh my God. Not prepared for that ending, dude. I was like,
oh,
woo,
by the way, I will criticize this. The Ren character, is it called Ken? Ren? Shit character.
I
shit fucking character. I'm sorry. I know what they got, but it was a really bad character. I was like, no.
Yeah,
he was like
Ren was.
He was a worse version of Mac from True Colors. He's more of a red herring than I've ever seen.
Yeah, but he wasn't a red herring. Like that's the worst part. He was a red herring. That set the building on fire.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, though. I saw him as a red herring, and it's like, Ren, no, and I'm like, the fuck? Where did Ren come from? It's like, oh, I don't want to be in that group anymore. And then he's just sending Molotov cocktails. I'm like, fuck you, John. Fuck you, Jonathan Zimmerman. I hate you.
Did you catch him in the police car?
No.
Oh yeah. So
no.
Later, when Max is doing the sequence and you're turning off the valves, if you walk down one of the paths, there's a police car there. And he's in the police car, and you can talk to him. And you can.
Oh dang! No, I didn't know.
And Max gets like really pissed off with him, and she's like, "You blah blah." And then after every interaction, he'll say, "I stopped speaking to you," and then he tells you to fuck off each time. He'll just say he'll say F off. So yeah, he's like arrested in the car.
Dude, that's what I mean. Like Ren was a wasted character, but at the same time pissed me off.
Yeah.
At the end too, because at least he served that purpose to piss me off. Like, the hell?
Saying that, actually, I don't know who died in your playthrough. Who died?
Pretty much everybody.
Really?
Dude, Vin died.
Saying that.
Vin died. Lorella survived. The president died. Dude, I was just like, these people didn't.
Vin
have
died
to
in
die.
mine. I was surprised, but I messed that up. I was like, oh, actually, that's interesting. I was like, you know, at the end, I was like, oh, was like, he's actually not as terrible as he was in Double Exposure. And I kind of take away my
Yeah.
really horrible comments that I was saying on the podcast. I was like, he's actually been
Yeah.
written so much better. I feel a little bit bad that he's gone. I was like, he wasn't even that bad.
Dude, here's the one thing that threw me off. Like, because they're saying like, oh, the fire is always inevitable. I'm like, okay, good ending of the story. And then like, oh, the final choices came out like, you let the fire happen in the fab. I'm like, what the? I thought it was inevitable. You let it happen in a practice house. I'm like, the fuck? Like Jonathan Zimmerman telling the story like, hey, reality is inevitable. Hey, dude, why didn't you make reality inevitable?
Yeah.
Huh? How come you made it? How it's your. I'm like, damn, John.
I clocked this very early as well. Even when they did Loretta's March, that's a sign of a good writer and directing and development team, because like they set that up and it's like, I knew there was going to be like Loretta Rice dies and that's the reason, like a catalyst movement and protest. But when I figured out the evidence book, because obviously Loretta survives in my playthrough all the way through, I was like, great. I was like, that's again a sign of someone who's really crafting a story and with some kind of at least like setting up for something. And it doesn't just fall off a cliff like it did in Double Exposure. It's like we're setting up for a story which has like got this, you know, with a bit of these characters. And again, it's that pivot that you done with the characters where they actually feel like, oh, we're grounding them. We're making them feel a bit more real. Even Moses kind of grew on me a little bit more as this kind of like, you know, Sherlock Holmes character that was with you. I was kind of like a little bit thingy, a bit like, oh God, is he going to be a bit annoying? But it's like, no, he's actually like a very cutesy Sherlock Holmes character that supports you. And again, balance.
Yeah.
Look, again, there are issues with the story. It is going to come across as like quite fanficky for some people and yada yada yada. That's how you feel on it. But you're getting what you get given now at this point where they delivered it. They've landed the project and it's like, this is how it is. And for my heart yearns because it's like, could you just not have given these people this development time frame? Because like that Double Exposure combustible situation would have been avoided. And it would have been the most perfect Life is Strange game. Probably not, but it would have been deliverable in terms of the standard and what you were expecting from something. But you kind of done it as a last minute pivot and a swing at this point. But there's some great moments in just in the story, and even the montage as well. I know people have like kind of been broken apart by the end of it as well, like the setup that they've done with that. Obviously, you have the even that final decision as well, that with Chloe with the Polaroid and giving it to Max. It's like mirroring that first choice, but done in a very clever way because it's more morally, ethically done. Again, it's like that kind of thing where it's like, actually,
I had Chloe burn the photo, by the way.
Really? Now that's interesting, that, because that's something that you would feel differently from what you would have done in 2015 with Life is Strange. It feels like a, you know.
Yeah. No, I burned it because I felt like that was, if we're concluding the story of Max and Chloe, that's what I mean. End the cycle here. So like, that's my attitude. When I'm done this playthrough, I do want to give Max the photo and I just want to see what happens. Did you give her the photo?
No, but I think I know what happens then. I think someone told me.
Okay.
I'll leave it for you because I want to say it. But I think like, yeah, do you know what? Because it's the ethical implications of that. It kind of reminded me a little bit of why I really don't like the sequel for The Last of Us. But it's like I really enjoyed The Last of Us when Ellie says to him, "It's like, you know, swear it to me, like, you know, you didn't do that." And he's like, "No,
swear to me."
Yeah, swear to me.
Like that.
The great, swear to me. No, but like when she's like, you know, says it's Joel, she's like, you know, swear to me, like, you know, you this. He's like, I swear, and it's like that lie is built on. It's like God, because it's like, unfortunately, they ruined that with The Last of Us Part 2, but I won't go to rant about that. But it's like you set up that jeopardy where it's like, actually, hang on a minute, you've given player agency back to Chloe or the player at that point, and said, hey, you decide on what the ethical implications are on this. And it's like, actually, it's massive for how it sets up. I even love when Max opens the door and she's like, ready for the mosh pit. It's like great. That's when nostalgia is done well.
The only thing that made me feel like I was holding in a sneeze, they didn't add Shaka Bra. Like, ready for the mosh pit. I'm like, and then I was like holding this, like, I'll just say Shaka Bra. Yeah. Just say it. Again, they got half effort there. Like they got her to say ready to the mosh pit.
See, I thought Chloe was going to say it at that point when she says ready for the mosh pit, and she'd be like, yes, Shaka Bra, and then it would be like, but again, maybe that's too corny, maybe that's too cheesy, maybe it works or not. And they probably went through drafts and stuff like that. But I think
that's the only criticism. That's why I dropped it down to a 4.5 because she didn't say Shaka Bra.
But no, they delivered that well, and then even the montage as well. You can see the way that's set up as well, and the Arcadia Bay like shots and stuff, and like even that massive like. Do you know what as well? That moment where it cuts to the montage as well. It's like Max and Chloe walking, holding hands, and it cuts into the original one.
Yes.
I will say my criticism is the fucking remastered footage they keep using. I'm like, stop it, because it's like that is poor, that footage, and I'm like, I'm not having that. But
that's Deck 9's footage, like
Square Enix's footage. They're not using the Don't Nod one, are they? They're not a chance they're going to keep going back to that. But yeah, it's a lot better in terms of how they delivered that, and it's like, okay, that's pretty good moments. But there's some really good moments in the story. There was like some really like higher points that they hit onto. Even the Braxis like party and stuff, it was just like a lot more enjoyable. It was a lot more paced, and it felt like you were engaged in the story. I was like, actually, I care about some of these characters. Surprisingly, to my own detriment, I was like, holy shit! I was like, actually, these characters are like growing on me a little bit. I'm like, dear Lord Almighty! I'm like, what's going on here?
No, and I was just super impressed with the story. I was super impressed with the writing, because of the context. And again, I wouldn't blame somebody 5 years from now picking up this game and being like, that was a 3 out of 5. I get it. Like, I'm not trying to say like this is going to stand the test of time. What I am going to say though is it's like, from what they had and the time that they had and the effect that it had on me, I was smiling, I was tearing up, like I was going through emotional roller coasters. Like, yeah, it's mean the lore involved. I'm like, that's why I'm giving this like a 4.5, dude. Like, that's why I'm like, I'm fighting giving it a perfect score, dude. But in terms of like A for effort, kind of thing.
You know what?
But
they're just missing those like one or two beats where it's like you put Ashley Birch in it, you put like that obstacle song in it, and it's like this could easily be like the most ultimate nostalgia thing, because it probably does pull on people's heartstrings by the end of it because of the montage and stuff. Look, again, this is a hard cut and pass place because like where Deck Nine's at the minute now and where Square Enix is at, they've kind of buried themselves into this hole as well, and they've kind of like basically done. I think in itself, an interesting thing is they probably put themselves in a good position for the TV show now, which is kind of like revamp that kind of like,
oh god, yeah,
which is a knock-on effect, which is probably going to help them now, at least at this point. I think probably Dimitri Johnson's going to be quite happy because it's like, actually, hang on a minute, you kind of course corrected in a smart kind of way. But it's like the worst thing that I had as well when people saw this, it's like, ooh, maybe we could do more Max and Clay. No, stop it. Stop it. Once you get to something, stop it. And I say this as well as someone who loves Breaking Bad. I really enjoyed it. I know someone who likes Breaking El Camino. I hated the fact that they did El Camino. It's like Jesse Pinkman driving off in that scene. Your heart and imagination goes out to what happens. He's escaped his hell, and they added this massive, ridiculous epilogue that didn't need to be happening there. Same with Prison Break, that entire TV movie they did afterwards when it was like, oh, well, Michael Smith. I'm like, stop it. Some characters deserve a nice ending and a natural thing. One, you've now had Zimmerman on his way out, and also Iris and the other people as well, and even Chris Sicker and all the development team deliver on this game. Leave it. Don't touch it now. Like, you're gonna cause a mess now. You don't understand if you don't like the fact that they brought Zimmerman on this project. This kind of instigates how bad Deck Nine is run on this, because it's like if you ever see how they run, it's actually quite shocking in terms of like the structure and how people go up in roles and stuff. But that's a different conversation. How he was never put on Life is Strange before this, I don't know. They moved him onto the Frost team, and you did what you did. And I said this before, even with Webb moving over to the motion capture directing team as well, Double Exposure is made by that team, whilst the Before the Storm co-director is in the mocap team. I'm like, can we understand? Like, look, BTS might not be everyone's cup of tea, but the guy who co-directed a very, very beloved entry in the Life is Strange franchise, which has a phenomenal soundtrack, I should keep adding on to that, is in the mocap team. Please just leave it now. I'm actually just more happy and content that Max and Chloe got some kind of solace here, even if it's amid all the other systematic issues that hopefully some patches can kind of fix as well with the game-breaking bugs, some of the bugs that are in here. Just leave it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for.
Is it good time for us to jump into the music?
Yes, we can. I don't think there's anything else in the story that I missed. There's probably like tons of other plot points that happened, but like it was
because like I have personal things to say about the music.
Okay. I will start off first as well. I'm sorry, the piano fire thing is just like the opposite effect of the Spanish Sahara. Piano fire doesn't fit that sequence. I'm sorry. Maybe it does when they're driving off and you extended that sequence a little bit more. This is where some of the flaws come. I'm like, no, just, do you know what? If you can't get obstacles, cut the nostalgia trick, because it doesn't work at that point. If you aren't willing to get Tessa Rose Jackson to re-record Jonathan Morelli's Max and Chloe theme, the original score, cut it. It
Mhm.
doesn't make sense. That felt. I was like, oh dear. I was like, this is the early part of the game. I was like, oh, I'm getting cringe vibes here, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, so I have feelings about the license tracks, and I
Yeah.
have feelings about the original score by Tessa Rose Jackson. So my feelings, I am on your side about
Piano
the
Fire.
license tracks here.
Yeah.
It was they tried to give it like Life is Strange 1 vibes, right? But that soundtrack was just so massively
Yeah.
crafted, dude. So massively curated that just dog, they hit their
Do you know?
marks, dude. Michelle Coe.
There
Yeah.
you go. Go. Say it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Michelle Coe has some of the best musical taste I've ever experienced. That's not me like sucking up to him so that someday he'll be my bestie. Um, I know Michelle Coe will never love me. I understand that. I know my dad will never love me because he's dead now. But what I'm trying to say is that Michelle Coe does have like astounding musical
Yeah.
taste, and it shows within that game. Raul Barbe has musical taste wherever Raul is. He has great musical
Mate,
taste.
he's in that NME piece doing the feel for music. They even said that Raul Barbe was like getting the tracks. But
Yeah.
again, it's like what Luke said it on the Lost Records journey. He said like when they tried to get the Bruce Springsteen track for Captain Spirit. This is the thing because Feel for Music is great and they do great work with the music as well on this and other projects. But the Don't Nod team went and scouted out these songs. Like Luke is in Ruth Radley's DMs. He's like, do you think we can get her as a
Yes.
composer? And he's like, why not try it? And they actually went for it and they're like, holy shit. And I think like Luke said in some of the interviews, like, we're on a video call with Ruth Radley here. And it's like, holy shit. And they're like
Yeah.
freaking out about it. And it's that's the difference where, as you said,
Yeah.
they can't get the like, they don't, that's where the Don't Nod DNA comes in. It's the music. And it's like,
Yeah. It's just like if you don't have the same musical taste, like I have musical tastes that are just it's just a mod podge, dude.
yeah,
Do not look at my iPod, dude. It's gonna go from Tchaikovsky to Kirby music. Like it's just all over the place, dude. I'm a mess. That being said, like the license tracks, they were fine.
yeah,
Like I didn't really feel anything. I'm a sucker for Foles, dude. Like I have a couple of their vinyls, so like I love when Spencer Hara came on for me.
yeah.
Great, but I was just like, eh, like they were fine. I think the license tracks didn't blow me away. Where I was just like, man, this is some good. Oh, this is a good placement here. That's a great placement there. I thought they were fine.
Yeah.
Like that's the one place where I'm just like, okay, I can drop this down to a 4.5 where like the license tracks just they didn't hit.
And you know what, as
Now,
well, I think maybe the marketing impacted that because I remember when they built up Chloe Morondo's
I think
September
so.
and they did a really good
Yeah.
track with that. And then obviously it plays at the ending of Double Exposure. Oh, by the way, sorry, I'm in storyboard. When they went back to
Yeah.
the ending of Double Exposure and they're back in the snapping turtle and it's like makes
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, that's a criticism. I'm like, really? I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Are we
Yeah.
doing this again? It's like, oh, make peace with the survivors. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just
Yeah.
had to put that in your music thing. Sorry, continue. But I was furious at that point. I was like, what is even going on here? I was like, why are you doing that again?
Now, yeah, the license tracks, I was like, like I was just left like a little sizzle, like
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, they were there. I think they were fine. The original score by Tessa Rose Jackson. This is where I have to applaud Jonathan Zimmerman. Okay. And I applaud him because when I say like I have something personal to say, I am not going to throw any game directors that I've worked with under the bus at all. I'm just saying, working with multiple game directors and working with multiple like film composers or like film directors, right? I can tell you there are differences of direction. And what us as composers and sound designers do
Yeah.
is like we hear the direction and we hear like, what would you like? If you're not really clear with us what you want, what you get is kind of music that doesn't really fit or it's not our best work. Like a lot of there's a soundtrack that I'm sitting on that I'm just like, I'm dying
Yeah.
to release this once the game releases, man. that being said, unrelated, Wishlist Heartless Rogue on Steam. Just unrelated. But what I'm trying to say is that like this game, you can definitely feel there was a better direction in music for Tessa Rose. I said this before about Double Exposure that like I thought the soundtrack was amazing, right? I thought the soundtrack was like one of the best things about Double Exposure. And I feel like it overlapped some of the story. It overlapped some of the songs. The pause menu music, it just kind of like cut into some of the story beats of the music because it was like nice and calm. But you can tell that the directions had like, yeah, put in some nice acoustical like pause menu music. And Tessa Rose did what Tessa Rose does, like you tell a bear to eat a carcass, the bear's gonna eat a carcass. I'm just like, that's what's gonna happen. But there's some games where the soundtrack, the original score, should not, it shouldn't, right? It shouldn't overplay the story. It should kind of flavor it.
Yes.
Right? It should be in that background while also kind of like emphasizing some structure, right? And I think in this one, Tessa Rose once again succeeds as a composer, right? But there was just such stronger direction of how she should use her music and what feelings should be invoked, like some suspense, and then the stings, dude, the stings of like when the door bursts open both times, where like where you're in the basement and you're trying to lock the door, and then like that musical sting that when the doors kick in. And then Owen's office too. Like, that's it. I'm coming in. Like, there's like a suspenseful sting. Jonathan Zimmerman knows how to direct a composer. Right. A lot of people will think that like, oh, like the composer will have, or like they will have artistic control. Yeah. Yes and no. Like, yes, in a way of just like, there's a lot of times where like, hey, I'm looking for this emotion. Or what would you give? And they're not going to be like, hey, play a C sharp major into an E flat, right? They're going to say what your feeling is, give you that. But their story is like what Mick Gordon went through, and I mentioned Mick Gordon before. Mick Gordon on the direction of Doom Eternal and Doom the Dark Ages, he had no direction at all. He was going into it blind. He didn't have gameplay. They just said like, yeah, just make it badass. Come on, Mick, just do the badass music. Zero direction at all. So so what you get is like, it's a badass soundtrack, but he didn't know what he was doing. My point is, this was such an improvement of a much more reduced and a much more, and when I say reduced, when I'm talking about like when you reduce a sauce, right? At first it's that tomato sauce, but then you reduce it a little bit. You let it melt and it becomes a nice pan sauce. That's what this soundtrack became. It's due to a great direction and due to a great composer working together. And I think that's what happened in this soundtrack.
But there's also the factors, which is the fact that they didn't pivot left, right, and center. They didn't have enough time for it. It's course correction, and you're going down and you're going down the one route like they did with The Expanse, where it's a darker theme, and they're going for that, and you need that kind of sense of it. And they went and dabbled in the True Colors soundtrack in terms of style. They went and adopted certain other kind of traits, and they went through that, and that's why the soundtrack comes across a lot cleaner because you're not messing around.
Notice it wasn't like there wasn't like a happy-go-lucky pause menu music in this one.
No, but again,
exactly.
But that's exactly what we need now. It's like we're setting the stakes up. Like, even I never watched a scene where I thought, actually, barring the one or two nostalgic treat tricks, and I'm kind of very receptive where nostalgia is playing into it. It is with this review as well. Like, it's going to happen because people are in that mode. Even though I can step back as well, I do have a bit of issues and stuff. Generally speaking, it's like that's one of those things where you're like, okay, the soundtrack's a lot more cleaner. It's efficiently tighted. They're dealing with things. They're missing the Don't Nod DNA in terms of getting those tracks and getting the right ones that they need and specific ones. Like, they're picking a certain artist, and it's like, okay, cool. It's like with Gold and Red and stuff. And it's like it still doesn't hit that same like it's not music from before the storm. That was like Deck Nine's like masterpiece in terms of having a soundtrack on one of their games. Since then, it's just never hit that same beat. But Tessa's very good as a score composer and a songwriter. Her original stuff is amazing. But the license track,
it's just that's what I mean, though. When you're making a soundtrack, an original soundtrack, it is a collaborative experience, right? I've worked with game directors that were just like, not my tempo. without telling me what your tempo is. Like, well, what is it? What's the tempo? I don't understand. If you tell me it, this process will go a lot faster.
Yeah.
And then I worked with people like, I'm gonna name drop this person. I say it all the time. I like composing with Marcus, my friend Marcus Graves,
Oh,
because
yes.
one, we're like brothers at this point. He knows how to talk to me, but number two, he gives me. I send him my composition, and he gives me detailed notes of what to change
Yeah.
and why he needs to change that. Right. And I'm like, cool, I can work with this. Not saying that, like, again, like he's not giving me sheet music, like play this exactly. It's just notes.
Yeah.
And it's like that kind of direction of like, it's collaborative. I give my thoughts, you give your thoughts, and that's where this kind of melds together, that the original score by Tessa Rose really does marry well with the story and the gameplay. It's not outstanding like it was in Double Exposure, where that was the only thing that we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's now like a whole collaborative experience of the music,
Do you know,
aside from the licensed tracks.
do you know one of the best
You know?
examples of that is? Do you trigger past life in the game when you went back up the stairs where Chloe's sleeping?
Yes. Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
that's an example of it, because you create essentially like a moment of calm kind of thing, but it's more about music, and it triggers that sequence. You obviously get a trophy as well for it, but it's like it's just hidden, like it
Yes.
wouldn't play if it didn't go up there. So it's like it's set in certain sequences, and they just put it more efficiently within the story. So it's like it's a lot more. Again, it's just a lot more. For me, what they did again was they
That's what we call is immersive soundtrack.
exactly, and I think the main thing is for
Yes.
me is that again, the development team and the shift was that the fact they focused just on the two characters, and as I said, like everyone else is surplus to requirements. That's why people who love Double Exposure probably might not even like this game, because it's like you scrap all those other stories. Like Vin Lang is not a love interest for Max and Chloe. Like even one of those decisions with like Mando, it's like Amanda still has feelings or something for Max. It's like, well, yeah, shoot, like you're in a final choice.
Yes.
It's like that's just a whatever. It's not going to play out massively different. It's either Max and Chloe, or no, or just Max on her own, or the friends, or whatever else. It's like you make that decision there. We're making a lot more cleaner of a precision cut here, and that's what we deliver with. And it helps with the soundtrack then, because it's like the soundtrack is delivering on that. It's not, Illusion was a banger track in Double Exposure, and it's like the soundtrack necessarily doesn't have all those kind of tracks, but it's True Colors vibe. It's mellow. It kind of plays in certain scenes. It sets the sequences really well. It fits with Max and Chloe's sequence as well, even under the boat and stuff. It's like they measure it, and they don't go into. And I said this as well. They don't go too overly nostalgic either. That's the thing. Like they made sure that they don't go overly nostalgic on the tracks, and that's a good thing, because we already have the entire game's a nostalgia project. That's where we're at right now. Like Square Enix made that decision to bring this all together as it was, and they brought back Max and Chloe now. And it's like, obviously it's going to get hit by a nostalgia thing, and it's got issues with it. Like maybe the one or two other tracks that could have been added to the soundtrack. Maybe they could have used. I mean, for example, like Daughter being used for isolation when they're on the boat. It's like fantastic. It fits. It hits that vibe and stuff, and it's like you nailed that perfectly. So yeah, really great job from Tessa Rose and Feel for Music and the tracks they did. There are still limitations on that soundtrack, but very good done nonetheless.
Oh yeah. But that's all I have to say, is that the music was personal for me. So
yeah. Speaking of which, we'll move into the other part, which is I think is a massive thing, which hasn't been talked about or even spoken about, which probably is a testament to a good thing: mocap and actors. I will say that a lot of the plaudits will go to Jonathan Zimmerman and also to Iris Doutman, but I think the person that's going to be the most unsung hero on this project is Zachary Andrews, who was the motion capture director on this, the performance director. He obviously worked on The Expanse as the performance director.
And it makes me sad you didn't watch the documentary yet.
Not yet, but I want to watch it. Is his wonderful smile on that documentary?
Multiple times.
Yes.
Multiple. You see him multiple times in the documentary.
He's going to be on Player One versus the World's graphics with those multiple smiles. That's what's going to happen. Look, like, and I say this about, I think I'm someone who with Life is Strange, where I don't do the theories and like a lot of other things. I'm very much more on the technical side, especially with actors and performance. And I thought anyone stepping up for what Webb did in this as well, who is a phenomenal performance director. Zach really went in and did this as well on no Life is Strange experience in terms of mocap. He's done other things on Life is Strange. You see him in the credits of it, but it's like he went in there and he worked to his last day when he got laid off as well. He put that in his post when he's talking about it. And I think he's going to be the unsung hero of this project as well. No matter how good you think Rhianna DeVries' performance is, or even Hannah Telle or any of the other actors, it's a testament to the mocap director delivering on all cylinders, and he really, really fucking nailed it. I think he really, again, what made those great sequences between Lily Hakama being Khan and even Stefan Frost being Tor and Kamina Drummer being, Kara G being Kamina Drummer, like those sequences are all shown in this game as well. He's got a great script he's working with. So obviously he's got a fantastic 2 writers who are really helping him, but his direction and the way he's shooting sequences, he's pulling performances. I don't even think he's pulling performances out of actors. He's just giving them the place where they need to be doing that. I would argue that Webb did that with Double Exposure because the script was terrible on that. He was pulling performances out of actors who are naturally gifted anyway and really good. But you could see where there was certain levels of it. But I think with this, you could see Hannah Telle was more assured. And it's like, let's give that push to Rhianna DeVries to be a bit more Chloe. If you need to show her emotion, you need to scream and you need to do a thingy, be that.
Yeah.
Here's a bit of a thing. And I think he just mocapped his way through just genius. And the fact that no one's even saying anything about the fact that the mocap director has changed here. We're talking about the guy behind the scenes who's shooting everything with everyone.
Yeah.
That's a testament to where Deck Nine's legacy will be, which is the fact that they had 2 great performance directors there. Even Sylvia Gregory, who did the casting and also remaster collection, he just really, really delivered it. And I'm not saying that from a bias because he's been on the channel before, but I just know that he's just nailed that as well. And I also went straight into the credits and I was like, where is she? Where is she? I was like, Erica fucking Mori is there. I was like, I know I know this motion capture set is being run well now because she's fucking on the set and she's going to be like, right, busting heads and kicking everyone's heads in as well. Is she in the documentary?
Yeah. No. I know. I was looking for her. She wasn't in it. I was very upset at Spaghetti.
Well, Lucy Helm, your documentary gets a 1 out of 5 for not getting Erica Mori in it now. You can shoot it all you want and make this really amazing.
Blue Allen. Yeah. You see
Blue Allen's in it. Olivia Abiasi's in it. I've seen one of the things of it. Hannah's in it, obviously. Zach's in it. And there's a couple of other people as well in there.
Rihanna's in it.
Rihanna's in it. Sorry.
Corin is in it, dude.
In it.
You see Corin in it. Yeah. I don't think anybody. There's a couple more people. I just can't remember. But I think
maybe Alexis Bloom was in there. She's one of the mocap.
Oh, maybe. I can't remember now.
There'll be a couple. Yeah, there'll be a thingy. But just generally, I think
it was just sad to watch, man. It was just really
heartbreaking.
Sad. I was like,
he put so much love into that, and like the fact that he's working to the final day, and it's like it's that somber mood that this game is ending on. There's no more Life is Strange planned after this in terms of the short term or anything else of it. Even when they kind of do that mixed flopping message of Max and Chloe. What else is left there? Like Deck Nine's entire motion capture team has been obliterated. We covered it for a year on layoffs. We had to cover the guy's layoff. I was like, fantastic. The guy we interviewed has been laid off. How more somber can this be? It's like, same with Frost. When Frost got laid off, he was like a subtopic in our thing. I don't want to do that because I would have broke down in tears with Frost leaving Deck Nine. But it's like with him, I just think.
No, I don't think we know if he was laid off or not.
No, he didn't get laid off, Frost. He left. I mean, when he left. But he was made up the news of the layoffs and stuff. Like we're talking about when we're dealing with Frost, it's like he's part of the wave of people leaving Deck Nine, which is pretty much in the very small digit numbers at this rate in terms of Deck Nine now, where it's like I think I'm running out of numbers of people that I'm covering and who have left the studio. But with like Zach, I think he's just not going to get enough credit, and I just think he does such a great job. If Hannah Telle or Rhianna DeVries or any of them get a nomination in some form, it is down to him. I'm sorry, I love actors and I love Hannah Telle and I love the performances, but the performance director really, really, really knocked out the fucking ballpark in all those sequences.
Oh God,
especially from Max and Chloe game as well. And the fact they were doing that. I think Hannah talked about it in one of the things where she's like, we see the gestures between Rhianna and thing. That's the motion capture director, man. He's nailed those sequences and he nails the positions, the way that the characters are sat, the way they're doing things. Speaking of which, Ashley, and it's just something I clocked on, people might not notice this as well. And maybe I might be wrong, right? But I think there might be a workaround with this in terms of thing. Did you notice how many characters were sat down in this game for sequences?
Oh yeah, I noticed too.
With Chloe and Lucas and all these, and I'm like, you can shoot those separately.
And they had like the whole Muppet hands on the table, like the hands weren't exactly touching the table; they're just like kind of floating above it. Yeah,
I was like, you can shoot those sequences separately to cut down the cost of like getting this. And I'm like, maybe they did shoot them together, but I'm like, I'm like, there's a lot of sequences where they are like they are at a table, Max and Loretta at a table, Chloe and Vingy at a table. This person, even what's his face? Okay,
Owen.
Yeah, Owen. At a table.
Owen was sitting down.
There are a lot of sequences where they're all sat at tables doing sequences.
Yeah, when Max was confronting Vin, she had a chair. Like they didn't have a chair in double exposure, but she had a chair here. Yeah,
that's when Zach Andrews is gonna be like that Drew scheming where he's like that, where he's got his hands up in the air like this. He's gonna be like, just find it efficient to kind of do it. Like, we need to get this done.
Yeah, no, they definitely had more seating arrangements in this one.
100%. 100. It's so when you pick up on it, you notice it. It's like, hang on a minute, why are they all seated and it's like,
yeah.
And I'm like, that has to be a motion capture trick that they've done this to get people recording. Like, again, the shots that need to be the most important are Hannah and Rhianna together. And the same with like Blue Allen and maybe a couple others. Like, even that documentary as well. Who did you say it was? Olivia, Rhianna, Hannah, and Blue.
Blue, that's it. That was the only four.
And Lucy Hale's only there for a very brief time shooting that documentary. Does that not tell you something, that there's four actors there? Even if there's some of the other ones have played maybe a bit more of a role and stuff, 4 actors, it's like, that's. But again, this is where the workaround happens, because like, look at those sequences that were playing out. Max leaves, drives off, bang, Chloe comes into the sequence, and it's like, she's outside Snapping Turtle. Let's fill in this sequence because we now have content we can just do. We just need to make the exterior. Here we go, boom, there we go. Let's bring it. But on a serious note, really nailed it. Really nailed it. I loved Hannah's performance. Hannah's just a G. She's just great. I just love her. Amazing performance. I will say this though as well. This is not a dig on Rhianna DeVries or anything else with it. Rhianna does a really wonderful performance. They do really well. To come back to the character and step it up and stuff, I don't buy the Max and Chloe dynamic. I just can't buy Rhianna DeVries' Chloe with Max's Hannah Telle. This is where you'd have those chemistry reads where you do all the kind of things. I buy, for example, Rhianna being with Kylie on Before the Storm and having that dynamic. We're dealing with what we have here. I can't change that. But I wasn't sold on the first playthrough. Maybe if I change my mind afterwards, but I can't.
I just think it's jarring because it's not Ashley Birch.
But it's like Bonnie and Clyde. It's very if you got rid of Bonnie and it's like you replaced him with me, it's like, come on, man. Like, and maybe a bit of an extreme example, but it's if for example, look, here's an example.
Yes,
you're starting again with the TV show and you're doing Tate and Grace Hopkins and Macy Stella. It works because it's just we haven't heard it before. If it was Tate and Grace Hopkins and it was a new actor that came in after Macy Stella who defied all expectations and delivered, and then Macy's like,
I think Maisie's gonna be just as jarring because like she doesn't really have that Ashley Birch essence, right?
But the thing is though, and here's the benefit though, Macy's not opposite Hannah Telle though, so you already eliminate the fact that it's actually a new Max, and it's like we don't have to deal with that kind of like
not necessarily going against Hannah Telle, but like Tatum Grace is Max, man.
But again though, Tatum Grace is now a new Max though. We're not putting Tatum Grace in the same room as Ashley Birch and then being like, holy shit, where the fuck's Hannah? It's like, no, she's her own Max now.
I just think that like Chloe is just already it's already a fuse on Dynamite with the fandom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Max is a good like idea on paper, but Chloe is just identifiable. In fact, Chloe Price was in the Guinness Book of World Records right above Captain Price. Like there was Captain Price and there was Chloe Price. You know what I mean? I just think that she's just way more identifiable, and I think Ashley Birch with all of Ashley's like performances between Tiny Tina and Aloy, like Ashley is Ashley.
Yeah.
And then like if you have anything other than Ashley, it's a little jarring. And I think that's like really the case. You have Hannah Telle, and even in Farewell, you had Hannah Telle and Ashley Birch. You've never had Hannah Telle and Rhianna. Apparently there was like an accident outside of my window, so that's cool. But that's what I mean. I just think that it's super jarring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just.
I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to convince you to like, come on, man, it was super viable. Come on now. It's me trying to explain it like you can't win without Ashley Birch. I think it would be just as equally as jarring if it was Ashley Birch as Chloe, and then you had like somebody else
That's what I mean, though.
as
That's where it
Max.
starts for me. It's not. It's if you have one of them, you can't have the other. It'd be like Kylie Brown doing Rachel Amber, and then it's not Rhianna DeVries. It's too jarring because you have to do.
Now, here's the thing. It would be jarring if Kylie Brown was Max and Ashley Birch was Chloe. That would be jarring.
Jesus Christ! Never. That would be like a disaster.
Now, I still stand by. I should have been Max. Like, come over here, Chloe. Give me a little smoochies. I think I could have been a good Max. Be super shy. I like photography.
I just think like it's just hard because you didn't do the chemistry reads, you didn't get start thingy, and you just and because of how the dynamic setting is, as I said.
I really wish you watched the documentary. I really wish you did.
Why?
Because apparently, so Hannah Telle, I think we already reported on this too, but they reminded me again in the documentary that Rhianna was her opposite read on Double Exposure
for Hannah.
So they already had, they said that in the documentary, like Hannah goes like, oh yeah, we already had a great relationship because she was my opposite read on Double Exposure. So yeah, there's a lot of this documentary.
Did Hannah Telle, when she say that, do this?
No, they just said it so naturally that I was just like, did we report on that? Did we know that? I feel like we didn't. But no, they like apparently Rhianna was her opposite read. Yeah, they already worked together, like Hannah and Rhianna. On Double Exposure. Dude, you have to watch this documentary, dude.
I'm not.
It's.
I'm not conspiracy theorist, and I'm not.
No. That's what I mean, dude. That you have to watch this because it's only like 30 minutes. It's like a 30-minute documentary. But there's a lot that was dropped. I was like,
can we just FYI that this is also just my opinion. This is also a Square Enix developed commentary piece with content. And I'm not saying that anyone's lying or revisionist history and things, but you do have to take certain things with a grain of salt. Just my opinion. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm just saying as it is, you have to be a little bit kind of like, can we change some dates here and add to the revisionist history that we're doing here? Not saying anyone is, just FYI in that. I'm just saying a bit different because, for example, like in itself, the Verge did a piece where it did the interview with Rhianna DeVries and Hannah Telle, and they claim in there that says that Rhianna did the interview, did their audition for Chloe Price in 2023 for Life is Strange, and it doesn't specify which one it is. But you're like, hang on a minute, you just said it's 2023, and then you're saying that.
Yes. In the documentary, though, like it just said that like the producers called Rhianna. Said like, oh, you ready to play Chloe again?
So wait, is it Rihanna's doing chemistry read with Hannah? Or the other way around?
No, they didn't really say. It didn't say a chemistry read. Just like
audition with them.
Like didn't even say audition. Just like they just said like Hannah was an opposite. Like Hannah was opposite reading to Rhianna during the filming. So they needed somebody to kind of like go against in the motion capture.
Yeah, but they do that with Maury and they do that with Stace. Like they bring them in and they do them.
But no, that's what I mean though. I'm not trying to say that Rhianna was involved in Double Exposure, but they're saying that like there's already like an actress chemistry because they already worked together in a way of just like they've met, they've done some what's the one technique that Erica Mori hates?
Meisner.
Shoot. Yeah, they've done some Meisner. You know what I mean? Like
that's what Zach Andrews was doing on the set. He was probably like saying it, and then she probably looked at him like, she's like, "If you do that, I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, Meisner, dude. No, so that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say like Rhianna was like in Double Exposure, but like they said they know each other as actresses.
That wouldn't surprise me. Like, I know Colorado's a small area, and Rhianna has done tons of mocap stuff with Deck Nine and stuff. I mean, it's just, I mean, because you're starting off from, like, it's those little things that you do in Hollywood where you change an actor because they've been established. You know, when they tried to bring in, you know, new Clarice Starling after Jodie Foster, and they've done this and it's like,
I'm excited for you to watch the documentary.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna get some popcorn out and be like, right, I'm like, let's have a look at this. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm gonna watch it after we finish this podcast. But yeah, that's
yes, please.
That's that. So we'll move on from the mocap. But yeah, big shout out to Zach Andrews. So the next topic is,
well, we have to touch on the podcasts. Yes.
Is it the podcast next? Oh, it's podcast next.
Well, after mocap. Yes. Yeah, we have to touch on that first. I see what you're highlighting.
Right.
Well, hold your brakes there.
Okay, so the podcast conversations. So they brought in the podcast, which, well, there was a couple of moments of calm. But like, the podcasts come in, and obviously there's a lot of commentary around podcasts, and you get flyers, and you can access them as well.
That was a dig on us, dude. That was a dig on us. That was straight up. I took that personally, dude. I straight up took that personally.
Like,
and I took that personally.
Yeah, there's yeah. Because we repeatedly said for a long time in this podcast as well, like, why is Loretta Rice in Double Exposure and she doesn't have a podcast, like proper podcast where you can listen to it with audio? It's very weird, like, that's phrased, and it was long part of the commentary. And they bring in a lot of podcasts in here, and they bring in a lot of podcasts with commentary, and it's almost like everyone has a podcast and you're talking about it. Now, I'm not suggesting anyone out there is doing that against us, but do you know what as well? I kind of say this as well to people. This was something that someone said to me. It's actually quite funny. And someone once said to me, it's like, if you were making something and someone made a podcast about it, would you not listen to it?
Yes.
And it's like, it's so true as well. Like even with like, you know, Luke listened to like the Lost Records Journal, and other people did. I don't know how many people I listened to it, but if someone made a podcast about something you loved and you figured, you'd listen to it, at least within some kind of like level of being like, actually just a bit of intrigue or something else like that. Now, I'm not saying,
want to go into, I think you really want to jump into the next, like bleed the next topic into this topic.
Yeah, that's fine. But I will say as well, it was a good idea. Yeah. It was a good idea. It's executed. Also as well.
Yeah.
Also, before we go on that, you know, we're praising Zach Andrews for doing really well in mocap. Where do you think he got his podcast audition from? Because he is in one of the podcast hosts on Izzy's one near the end of the game. And I remember listening to it. I was like, why does this host sound familiar? He's in the credits, like, with additional voices. Like, why does he sound familiar? And then towards the end of the clip, I'm going to criticize him here. His voice breaks a little bit. And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. And I went back and listened. I was like, that's Zach Andrews. I'm like, where do you think he got his podcasting techniques? He came on this podcast for an interview, and he learned how to do a podcast, and he did it in the game. So that's where you get that from. So I'm just going to put that out. I just find it's really funny that he's the voice. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Next topic. Should we go to... I don't know why this is in the review.
I wish they reached out to us like, oh, you want to do like a silly podcast where people can... I'm just saying,
I was hoping for a strange.
You could have had
Come on, put it in there. You could have like
throw
a bit of shades in there.
Dude, MaxCast. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm one of those people who are really humble and stuff and whatever else. And I'm like, I'm never going to be, but I'm like a little bit like, come on. And speaking of which, because this was, I think Adam was.
You want to jump in?
I didn't want to put it in, but Adam was like, we should conclude this. And I think this was like labeled in our like notes as, is this me? I'm sorry, right? I'm the most humble person ever, and I really couldn't. Hang on a minute. There is just something off about this, and I'm not even one of those people where it's like, oh well, this is me. I mean, are we talking about the hair? Should I turn to the left? Should I turn to my left or right, or whichever way you want me to do, and like show you my little hairdo and stuff?
Yeah. Like I told you this, and I told you this in a way of just like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that if you found me in the game, that's the nail in the coffin. That's definitely you, dude. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just
I'm
like,
not even saying it's me, but I'm like, when I walked into the bathroom sequence
it's the
there,
hair though. It's the hair flick. Cause like turn to right there. Like that angle, that hair flick, that's that character.
it's massively
That's straight
like
up.
all the hair out there, all of the hair. You could,
The fact that the fact that he's hidden in the bathroom. He's not even in the open. He's in the bathroom scene that you have to go in
Also, he's
and find.
also doing that hella sus like meme where he's like looking in the eyes.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, come on. Look, I'm not some conspiracy theorist or something like that. And it could be the most random Asian person they found and they gave him some hairdo or something. But like, there are some things that freak me out a little bit in terms of something that looks really like you. And I'm one of those people where you like, I don't look at celebrities and well, he looks like me. Just
I'm challenging this to our audience that if you find me as well in the game, put the nail in the coffin that's actually because again, what I'm trying to say is like I'm not trying to say like find me. What I'm trying to say is that like if I'm also in the game.
Do you know what as well?
That's
Do you know what as
yeah.
well? If I shaved my beard off, it actually looks scary. It would look my genuinely look like that when I don't have a beard. Like I genuinely like even my face as well. It looks even the fucking nose. There's something off about that. There is something off about that.
They got your nose. They really did get your nose, dude. That's wild.
There's something about this is like the most. When you like do something, you feel like it's just like one of those surreal.
I'm just saying they introduced the podcast with MaxCast and the BraxCast, StrangeCast, and then they put this character into the game. Like again, we're not trying to be like how dare you? We're not trying to sue you, but it's just like, can someone please confirm, like from the team, if this is actually supposed to be Adnan because you listen to all of our shows?
There's just something weird about it. Like if the hair was a bit different or something else, that's been my hair for the better part since I've been a teenager. I've never changed. I've had short hair like twice in a period, but my hair has always stayed very like similar, and it's always looked identical to that. And I remember walking into the bathroom thinking like, what the if I caught this moment when I was playing it, you'd probably be like, I was like, what? I walked up to her, I was like, and again, I'm not some special entity or something else like that. And honestly, if this was me, I'd be fucking mind blown. If it was, it'd be like the most surreal moment of my entire life. But like, just look at him and then look at me. Like that looks like me 5 years ago, minimum when I was younger as well. Like that's so scary. Like if you look at the side photo, that's when it does it. It's like when you like my hair's not as curly, and you look at it, it's like properly over my ears to the side, and it's like.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's something freaky about that. Even the comments as well, like it's just
yeah.
Can I put that as well? I was like, he looked really familiar. I'm like, Clark here, Jeff Clark, but he's like, dude, you made it into Life is Strange game. And I was like, that's funny.
Yeah.
This person put in Portuguese like, is that you or something in Portuguese? I just want to say like, it just must be a coincidence. Dan G put in, obviously it's Adam. Like,
yeah.
I'm
just saying that like if somebody who watches us finds me in the game, that like proves it. That's like again, nail in the coffin. You find a white guy with like thin glasses and maybe a mustache with a beanie on, it's game over. Like that's us. That's us in the game.
Where's my royalties? This is me. I'm going to. There's something off about that. There really is. He turns up later in the game because I looked for him. I was like, did he die in the fire? But no, he turns up at the snapping turtle outside on the deck with Max. And I looked at him and I was like, no, unless I'm feeling a very surreal moment of just like something else. Yeah, I think I think they know about this. I think this starts. So we'll leave that as a thing. But honestly, that still freaks me out, man. I'm gonna go back and look at him after this game. I'm just be like, right, I need to go and see him.
Listen, what I'm saying though is like I understand. Like if you didn't put me in the game, okay. If you didn't put me in the game, that's fine and all, right? What I'm trying to say is that I did not get my hands on the collector's edition Deck 9. I did not. I lost out on it. So like, you don't have to add me into the game. but I will take a free collector's edition. I will just take the vinyl. I'll just take the vinyl. You don't have to put me in the game. You can just, mail me the vinyl. That's all.
That's it.
That's all. I'm not saying that you're guilty. I'm not saying that you're guilty. I'm just saying I need a vinyl. Look at you go.
You missed out. It looks sick.
I did because I was moving.
Just saying.
I was
also,
moving.
It's me and you on the boat.
Great.
There we are.
And I missed out on I really did want that that slip mat. That felt slip mat. Oh my god.
Adam,
so yeah, I'm just saying.
Should we get into the next part? And we can start heading towards the end.
The fact that we took it personally that there's podcasts in the game and we're like, and then we see Adnan in the game
It's not
and
me.
Adam didn't
it's
get his.
It's me. It's just me saying that there's someone who looks awfully similar to me out of all the people I could have looked at.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out.
I'm gonna get a package in the mail with the collector's edition and just a note on top keep your fucking mouth shut. It's oh, okay.
Adam, let's get into the reviews quickly, and then we can go towards the ending as we've pedaled there. So, Adam, Metacritic has just gone live, ironically, for Life is Strange Reunion. It's only 4 reviews, just to be very careful with this. So it's
still though
4 reviews. It's on 85 ratings. This comes from Dual Shockers, Combo Infinite, Games Radar is currently pending. It's a review in progress because they got the review codes very late. And then I'll pull this one up for you here because this is more of an updated one. So currently, no one has given this below an 8, and obviously we're very early doors onto the reviews. For people who don't know, for example, they didn't send review codes out, barring a very few small minority. I think Izzy, who I love, Izzy from the Metro, wrote as well, saying that she thought she got blacklisted, but she actually just spilled the beans, very much in a piece, saying Life is Strange codes we didn't get a Life is Strange code. The publisher's dropping them on the day, so some people got codes on the day. So it's kind of almost like a time and efficiency of getting content out and stuff. My God, Square Enix have left this game into the pasture of they spliced apart the marketing. They left Lucy Hale to make her video content. They had 1 or 2 other people at Square Enix, but the PR machine has well and truly died with this game, with the way that Square Enix has taken it, which is to the own shame of Square Enix because it's now reviewing good. In a series, by the way, there's Adam as well, comes on the back of Square Enix being the top publisher on Metacritic for 20. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, the first time they're on that, I'm like, the Life is Strange fans are like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Dog, I did not see that coming, dude. These review scores, they're right, and I was agreeing with them. It sounds like you're agreeing with them. You're not giving this game below a 4 out of 5. You're not doing it.
If I was going to be harsh, I could give it a 3.5 because of the bugs and other inconsistencies. However, also as well, I am going to say we're very much with you. I am biased because I've seen a lot of the development behind the scenes on this, and there's no fucking way in hell you're going to get this game in any other way, shape, or form. Just truthfully, it's that Michelle couldn't come and save this game because there's just so many problems that were in there. You're asking Michelle to make a sequel off of this game, off of Double Exposure. Is it possible for anyone to make a cohesive story?
A sequel that also ends a game that came out 10 years ago.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. I can't give it below a 4.5 in my opinion. So I agree with all of these. You can't. What did I predict?
I think the Games Radar one's going to come in at a 7. Personally speaking, when I read that review, it's a review in progress, and it sounds a little bit cynical about certain things. I don't think it's going to be a 6. I think it's going to be it might be a 7, it might be a 7.5. I'd be surprised if it's an 8 because of the way it sounds at the minute and the way they've written the review. But I will check it whilst we're talking. But yeah, I don't think they've updated it as of I think it was a review in progress. Yeah, it's still a review in progress. It says the title says bogged down in past drama. I'm struggling to revel the joy of Chloe and Rewind's return.
Wow.
So in that review, I shall pull up because it's on the screen. Might as well do it. They put here as well. Actually, I'm gonna move myself down here to you so you can see it. There you go. So they put there as well the early verdict, which was Life is Strange Reunion wisely walks back on Double Exposure's biggest eyebrow raisers, and it's nice to see the return of Chloe Price and Max's rewind powers. An arson attack mystery initially compels, but so far Reunion has become bogged down with the overly nostalgic lore. I mean, also as well, like whilst that is a criticism, like what the fuck else are they supposed to do at this point? Like genuinely serious, like actually putting an expletive where what are they going to do now? It's going to be nostalgia heavy. Like the argument when you said, Adam, they wrapped up the game. They did wrap up the game 10 years ago. So ultimately, we've opened Pandora's box. It's going to be like that. But anyway, as you will, I'm just pointing out there's another kind of thing. Obsessed with interrogating Max's time travel powers. Character drama so far feels relegated to the sidelines in favor of never moving on, which is fair. I think it picks up later on when you get to the Abraxas house sequence and as the game goes on, which again, I think it's that. So they put that as well. Chloe's return is nice to see. Well, fucking hell, I'll talk about massive journalism there. But anyway, Rewind is still a great power. Environments improve on double exposure, and the cons are overly bogged down with corrections and past drama. Character drama feels sidelined by superpowered explanations. Struggles juggling two plot threads at once, which I think that's a fair one, actually. With them juggling the Max and Chloe story at the same time.
Yeah. But yeah, like I have to agree with all these reviewers though. Like I can't give it below an 8, dude. Like I don't think I could. And I predicted that this game would come out as like what was my initial? A 77? Did I predict a 77?
No, it was me that did that. I think it was like you said like 80. Is it 82?
I don't think I got above an 8.
You might have said 79.
I think I got 78 or something.
I said 77.
Yeah.
I was playing devil's advocate and trying to be thinking so.
Yeah.
And you went 79.
I was predicting like a 78. This is a fine game, but like, yeah, dude, if this comes out as an 80, like 80, when everything comes out and like all the reviews are out, right? And this is an 80 at the end of the day, I would be like, yeah, that's fair, dude.
Adam,
that's completely fair.
Anything below freaking what's it called? Double exposure would be like a disaster. I'd be like, right, pull the plug on Dimitri Johnson's project as well. I'm like, what have you done here?
Yeah,
let's do that. But again, it's not the relics of that double exposure team. And again, like Jonathan Zimmerman and Iris Stoutman are now moved on to Telltale. It's like that's a massive acquisition for Telltale. I know they're struggling to get their own stuff in order, but I'm like, you literally got two massively talented people there, like massively talented.
Yeah.
And imagine what
they got those like, hey, you did that in a year and a half. Can you get Wolf Among Us out in a year and a half?
John's like making a Substack. He's like, shit. He's like, I need to write this Substack up quickly whilst I'm trying to like deal with this mess. It's like, god damn it.
Yeah.
Oh
my god.
So yeah.
No, these are all fair, dude. Like if somebody tells me like, no way, you're not giving this a perfect score, that's fair, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's fair. Yeah, you giving it a 4, that's totally fair. Like I personally, dude, I have not felt this way about a Life is Strange game in a very long time. And even True Colors didn't really hit like this game hits. True Colors was like, it was a nice game. Like I was like, oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
And at the time I did say this is my favorite Life is Strange game. Like Life is Strange 1 and True Colors was like flip-flopping for me. But at the end of the day, man, this really hit the mark. Reunion really hit the mark.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's above True Colors for me because True Colors was that original. I know we talked about Jetterson. I know it kind of hits the same beats as Life is Strange 1. I get that. But like this is definitely in that top 3 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely really enjoyed my time in Reunion. Like to the point that I jumped right back in. I was like, no, I want to play this again.
Whilst you're loving it, because obviously we're coming towards the end. This is almost the same length as a double exposure one. If you watch those back to back, these 2 episodes now, they're going to sound very freaking different in terms of what you got.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God.
Because again, this game is night and day to double exposure, dude. Like night and day.
Mate, I put like all kinds of tweets out in 2024 and I said repeatedly that the Expanse team needs to go onto the correction course of this and get the other development team off it because I was like, this is the mess that you've created from what's happened here. And I think ultimately we can kind of get into the collective scores at this point because we can kind of make it. So universally, as we've done with the other StrangeCast, it's always been me and Adam can have our separate scores, but we have to agree on the StrangeCast consensus score. Now, you might think, who gives a shit about StrangeCast? Well, clearly they do about us because I'm in the freaking game and also the podcasts are all mentioned. So you clearly listen to we have to make a consensus decision, Adam. So obviously, as I said, we have a 10-point scale. It's done in 5 stars as we do it. So you can have half stars. And you're currently perched on 4.5. And I'm currently perched on 4.
4.25. There you go.
No, because I can't make like symbols and stuff like that. That's too much of that. I feel like you should do what I feel like I'm Max here by extending my hand, and you should be like Chloe and coming down to 4.
I'll bite your fingers off. That's what I'll do.
Can you honestly justify it being a 4.5?
Yes,
That would-
I've been for 2 hours.
That would take it into like almost the 9 range, like 9.9, 9.5. We're heading towards that. You're saying it's almost near perfect amid all the other things that we try and steal. Stepping a foot away from even the development issues and what you know and stuff like that. Can you objectively say it's a 4.5?
Yes, I've been saying that for 2 hours. Yes, 100%. I think that these are all aesthetic bugs. I think these are bugs that like the lighting issue and like the colors in the hair. Like it's not. I've seen worse bugs in Bethesda games, quite honestly. I've seen worse bugs in Double Exposure. I've seen worse bugs in the remaster, the Life is Strange remaster. Those bugs were awful. Like audio was cutting out and saves were being corrupted. Like those bugs were horrendous, dude. These bugs were just kind of like annoying, but like I enjoyed my time. I thought the story really progressed. I thought now saying struggling to keep up 2 threads. Nah. I think it did well. I liked the rewind. I liked how you controlled the conversation between Chloe and Max. Like those conversation, like you control how that relationship adds up.
Do you know what?
Yeah, dog.
I didn't really like the 2 characters controlling conversations.
Oh, get the fuck
I thought it was
outta
like
here,
more
dude.
homework for me. I was
Why?
like, why am I doing this, all the conversations here? It's like, why don't you just like make my characters talk to each other? It's like, come on, man. Like,
because you are Max and Chloe, you are in unison. Like you're the only ones. You're not controlling Safi and Max. You're only controlling Max and Chloe. You know what I mean? Like this is just such a like a good divine way to end these two that you are controlling both, and this is where you are.
am I gonna have to
You
pull
know
the
what I
dog meme up where he's like looking in the eyes and it's like twitching? I'm like, do I have to pull that up? What you're saying?
I thoroughly enjoyed this game.
People are gonna. Do you know what? If anyone makes it to the end of this podcast, I don't think I'd be fucking deeply surprised by the time.
Yeah. I am like on edge where I'm just like, dude, this is from what they've done, from what the previous team did, that they had to clean up the dog shit that there was double exposure, and actually say like, hey kids, come play in our park. Was this a radioactive dog park? Maybe. Is there still dog shit like in the little corners there? Maybe, but it's a fun place to play.
You know when they said like when you're looking for yourself in the game and you're like looking for a person, who's to say you're a person and you're not some like piece of poo on the floor?
I probably am. But like once again, I think it hits the marks of a Life is Strange game where it goes and explores. Like you have to pick up the flyers, right? Like you go and explore different people within the game. You build different relationships. I really did. Like from a year and a half of development to clean up, dude, this was beyond A for effort, dude.
Yeah.
I can objectively say 4.5.
Is it really going to a 4.5? You have to kind of meet me here at 4. I think 4 is a reasonable perspective here. 4.5, we are moving it right near almost the perfect scale on that mark. And
yes. Yeah. 100%.
They ain't gonna send you a vinyl, bro. They're not sending you a vinyl.
I'm trying to get my vinyl, bro. I'm trying to get my vinyl and my denim jacket.
No one left at Square Enix. You can't bribe your way to something now. Like this is not gonna happen.
Come on, Square. You love me. You love this.
I just can't bring it up to 5 because of 4.5 because of all the little things here and there. I think 4 is reasonable because it puts it in a very strong stead. I think Double Exposure was it a 2.5 or something from us?
That was bringing it up from a 2. Like we were trying to bring it up from a 2.
I think was I being more critical? I think it was me and you were like being.
No, I was bringing it to a 2. I was like bringing it down to a 2, buddy. Like I was trying to bring you down. I'm trying to bring you up this time.
I think 4 is reasonable. I think you should settle on 4.
Okay, since I had to concede to a 4.5, why are you not giving it a 3.5?
Well, this. Because I think it. I think ultimately, because of the relinquishing of the control that Square Enix has with where the game could have gone and the direction it could have gone, and the freedom that Deck 9 did have to make certain pivots and directional changes and move the story in a certain way, bringing on the Expanse team as well and making sure that they can deliver the game and essentially landing the game, which is what they did, because whatever you think, I think it ultimately lands the game in a reasonable place, despite them quote unquote making this mess to start with anyway. I think there's enough to make it a 4. It's a concise story, it's concentrated, it has its own issues, but the writers understand the characters, they understand the 2 main centerpieces, and it feels a long time since Life is Strange has had writers who understand the characters they're writing. So I think it elevates the kind of performance. Mocap director's wonderful as well, music great, etc. And then obviously the bugs are really kind of like yanking it back in certain places. So I think that kind of holds it back, including also some story issues as well in between it. But that's probably why I'm sat at 4 rather than a 3.5, because 3.5 would be really harsh for me as a professional review if I was doing it at that point.
Well, that's why I wish we were rating this out of 10, because I would give this an 8.5.
Well, that would essentially be our 4 then. So we're doing 10 points scale. It's like
that would be a 4.25 out of 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think you should just meet me at 4. I think it's reasonable. It's going to get a bit. It's just a little bit. It's one to start like that, mate. This is the. Forget about anything else. Square Enix is going to do. They're going to get the Michelin stars here from StrangeCast. That's the most important stars.
Yeah,
like, you got dedicated Life is Strange podcast. Like most people are going here for that. We would be in a top tier if we were at 4.5. And I'm like a little bit like,
I know,
and I think it's great. And I think that maybe you might feel a bit differently, as you said. Like, yeah, from you made the argument as well. Someone might feel differently about this.
I know I'm biased. Like that's the thing. I know I'm biased.
If Jonathan Zimmerman wrote his Substack and put us in it, then I'd increase the rating as a revisionist one. Be like, yeah, okay, cool, give him a 5 for it, but he hasn't.
Yeah,
he hasn't mentioned us once in that.
Yeah,
Substack.
I'll be like, God damn, I was right the whole time.
Yeah,
but fine, I will.
I think you should concede.
Okay, I'm working up to it, Adam. I'm working up to it. I will. I'm just gonna put my fingers.
There we go. I win.
I'll just put it.
I feel like Walter White. I win. No, I think I get what you're saying though as well, because it wouldn't surprise me. Again, the ratings are very high, and I think you can make a good case for it because of where it's at.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I think this is an 85.
Yeah.
Out of like an 8.5 out of 10. It's struggling for me to give it a 4.5 because that gives it a 9. Now, I don't think it's a 9 out of 10. Personally speaking, I love this game.
Yeah.
Like I adore this. That's why I would like, if we were rating this out of 10, it would be an 8.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's an 8. I don't think it's an 8 out of 10. I think it's just above an 8 because of the effort they put in.
Yeah.
But I will
even changing our scale to a 10-point scale. I still think a 4-star out of 5 is as close. It gets like almost an 8.5 and a 9 variation. Even if you're going to change it as well, it doesn't have to be like a precise thing. Because even if it moved us, as you said, to 4.25, I think our scale's a bit different from that. But 4 out of 5 stars in anything is just crazy as well. Like that's like obscene at that point.
I am obscene. That's my middle name, Adam Obscene Evalt.
Yeah, that's it. I think I would probably move up if I felt a bit differently. I think 4 is a very strong rating for it as it is.
I will concede to a 4.
Yeah. Perfect. We can revisit it down the line if you want. We've got a 1-year review coming up.
You all heard me though. You all know me, but StrangeCast stands at a 4 out of 5.
Okay, let's leave it at 4 out of 5 then as a universal rate. I think it's a fairly well balanced as a review, as a score there. So that's that. So thank you for joining us. I know it's a long podcast, but this is the same as the double exposure one. We thought we'd do the full breakdown, and obviously for our Patreon subscribers, we'll be back next week as well. We'll put a post out so you can get involved and put the podcast discussion, the topics out and comments and stuff. But yeah, big shout out to our Patreon subscribers. So we have Kevin Lackner, Sunday, Clare, McLoughlin, Jake, Carly, Kevin Kestis, Clarx, MrAnselmi, Spunger, The Lost Fan, Paul Groschke, Xavier, Ashlyn, KatanaGirl, not called Kevin, Dan G, and Olivia. So thank you so much for the Patreon support. So yeah, please stay tuned. That will be on the incentive tier very soon, so you can go and submit your topics towards it, and we'll catch up to it. Obviously, we skip Spread the Arts and comment the podcast. They will come back in the next episode. We usually do this for a review episode, but we hope you enjoyed it. It's a long talk, but there's so much that went on there, and there's like a lot of things I need to talk about. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you are new here to StrangeCast, please do consider dropping subscribe to the channel, turn notifications, like the video, and share with your friends. Climb to 2,400 subscribers. So if you can help us get there, that would be amazing. And StrangeCast available on all podcast services. So check us out on Spotify with a video version, Apple Podcasts. Go and check us out there. Go and rate us, go and download us. Go and follow us on Instagram and social media. We're on all those platforms. Go and follow us on Patreon as well if you'd like to support us, because you can get more incentives and goodies and follow all the up-to-date things as well. But yeah, what a way to sign off with Life is Strange reunion. So yeah, done here. God only knows what takes us next.
So is Life is Strange.
Adam, we're trying to keep a brand and podcast alive here. Stop it. But yeah, we'll continue on that. But yeah, thank you guys. Take care. See you later. Bye.
Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.